Hey everyone, guess what? We do not have ugly swag. We have spaced out radio gear that you're going to want to wear. Why? Because no one wants to wear ugly clothing. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com and go shopping today. You'll be glad you did. And it's a great way to support our show. Once you get your gear, send us a picture of you rocking out in your SOR swag. spacedoutradio.com, shop there today, and make yourself look good.
Welcome, everyone, to Spaced Out Radio, the After Hours radio show. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Tonight's going to be an action-packed show, guys. It's going down. UFOs in the sky. Proof of UFOs in the sky. If you've never seen anything anomalous, kick back. You're going to see that today. The entire show. Hours 1 and 2, we have our guest, Tom King, who filmed the infamous Phoenix Lights, ufologist, well-known, seen him on many docs. And we have in hour 3, Drew Blanca, and then potentially more UFO footage that had been captured today. So it's going to be awesome. You guys don't go anywhere. Action-packed show. Action-packed show. Matter of fact, go get a friend. You got a little bit of time to go get a friend. Let me go ahead and see who is in the building today. Let's see who got the medal positions tonight. We got Race Fan with the gold. We got Kathy Evans with the silver. And then we have Matt Carter with the bronze. All right. Looking really, really good. Do appreciate you guys coming on in. We also have Ann Joanne coming on in. Let's see. We have Eternity Eternal. And actually, let me get the podcast side started real quick. Welcome, everybody in podcast land, Spaced Out Radio After Hours. I'm your host, Mr. Rob G. Tonight, we have an action-packed show, UFOs in the sky, Skywatching, experiencers curating their own data. We have Tom King joining us, who filmed the Phoenix Lights, ufologist, for hours 1 and 2. And then hour 3, we have our guy, Drew Blanca, stepping in with the wrap-up, and then maybe more UFO stuff. It's going to be an action-packed show. You guys make sure you don't go anywhere. Tim James, the UFO Tim, is in the audience. Thanks for coming on in. We appreciate you, buddy. Lulu Bell, thanks for coming in. T-Bone, thanks for showing up tonight. We have, who else do we have? We have Mothman, who stepped in. Thanks to Mothman for coming in. Melvin WD40 getting us lubed up. Appreciate you, buddy. We have Deb from Sacramento, who missed trivia last night, but she's here tonight. Happy birthday, belated as well, Deb from Sac. Thanks for coming. Daniela, thanks for coming on in. Let's see, who else do we have? Because we have about 45 seconds here before we start the radio. Cosmic Joe Chronicles is here. Kitty Catty Whack is here as well. Thanks for coming on in. Appreciate you showing up. Everybody in YouTube land, everybody podcast land, everybody watching from X and Twitch. Definitely welcome to the show tonight. Corey Cole saying badass intro music, bro. Yeah. Appreciate you. We got to set it off. We got to get it started. So we got about 30 seconds before we get the radio thing going. Magnus Zetterquist, thanks for coming on in. Appreciate you. Resonant is here. Thanks for showing up. Wes Decker, W. Decker, thanks for coming on in. T-Bone is in the building. Paramarb as well. All right, here we go. Greetings, space travelers. Welcome home. You just tuned your dial to Spaced Out Radio, the only place where you can own the night. I am your host, Mr. Rob G. And tonight we're broadcasting to all our listeners on terrestrial radio across North America and digitally on digital platforms around the world. Remember, you can access our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Don't forget to follow us on X and Twitter, or X and Instagram at Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is Spaced Out Radio, where the options are endless. You can stay up to date with the SOR Newswire. You can get some official Spaced Out swag, plus rock out to some Bumblefoot, and so much more. Like I said, tonight we're going to have a great show. We have Tom King, the man who filmed the Phoenix Lights. You've seen him for many years on many podcasts, many documentaries for hours 1 and 2. And then hour 3, we have our guy, Drew Banke. And then the special guest as well coming in for hour 3. It's going to be an action-packed show. So the whole theme of the show is UFOs in our skies and being in experiencers curating data, right? So this is one of the things that we say, and we'll talk about this during the show. You don't need your fancy government in scientific equipment, top dollar equipment. I'm gonna show you that tonight. I'm gonna also show you some things that are anomalous. If you've never seen anything, stay tuned because it's going to be great. As I go ahead and bring in our guest for the night, none other than my good friend, Mr. Tom King. Tom King, how are you tonight? Muted. Can't hear you.
Sorry. Do this every time. Thanks for having me, Rob. It's nice to be on Spaced Out Radio. Hopefully we're going to have a great show tonight.
Oh, we definitely are. As I brought it in, I mean, come on, man. You're Tom King, dude. Everybody's seen you for many, 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 many years on many documentaries. You were there for the Phoenix Lights. You were there. Your footage is what it gets played on a lot of documentaries. And people have already seen your footage, I'm sure. We're going to be checking that out tonight. And it's just a pleasure to have you here. It's a pleasure knowing you and just being your friend, man. And it's I'm glad that we finally got you over here on Spaced Out Radio tonight. For everyone out there, though, I would like, just with any other interview, we're being introduced to them personally for the first time. So if you wouldn't mind, let's go back, Tom. What led you into Skywatching? And, have you had any experiences? What brought you up to this point?
Thanks for that, Rob. The feeling is very mutual. What got me into this was an experience when I was a kid. When my dad took us fishing back in 76 or 75. And a UFO showed up at night and lit up the whole area we were fishing. It landed about 300 yards away and started shooting up multicolored orbs. We examined that site the next day because we were too scared, to go there and see what it landed. And we saw a big burned hole in the ground. And to this day, that hole's still on Google Maps. Like 40 years later, nothing will grow there. So I've been thinking about getting a soil sample. I don't know what to do with it. So I grew up, knowing, aware stuff is out there. Close Encounters came out, the third kind of, hit close to home a little bit. And then eventually I moved around the country a lot and decided going to move from South Dakota to Phoenix. And when I get down here and get settled, I'm going to start seeing if that flap that was going on in Mexico City in the early 90s was happening in Arizona, because I know it was happening in New Mexico because of Jose Escamilla. So I wanted to repeat his type of, research. Just put the camera up, see what happens. Started doing that, and shot some stuff in the daytime. Did a lot of research back, did a lot of sky watching out in the heat, and eventually just stumbled into the middle of the Phoenix Lights unfolding. That night, we were asked to go to this gentleman's house named Steve Blonder, who was recording these nights Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, these orange orbs. And he guaranteed we'd film them. We showed up. So we said, sure. We got there about 9:40 or so. And he said, you missed it. And because something already happened. He went inside, showed us his videos. They were all out of focus. But he did shoot 3 things at 9, like at 9:15, 8:40, 9:15, I think around 9:30, just when we got there. And then I said, where are you seeing these? And he pulled me out to the balcony. And we saw one. It was directly south of our location, over Casa Grande. This was not over the Barry Goldwater military range. So I ran down the car, got the camera gear. We had a telescope and a bunch of stuff, and started, and then filming it until it went away. And then lights came back, and then what happened there was the infamous 10 o'clock thing that unfolded. So that I filmed that whole thing on this balcony. Ended up jumping in on this guy's second story thing. It was up really high, holding onto the roof, filming it. It was crazy. I had a job to do. I was there to film something. I filmed it. I left. Other people that night wished they had, filmed it, but I walked away, and at least I did something. We were looking around for a while. We didn't see the other large craft that were in the air because there were multiple craft that night. So I did a study with the 5 original people, which is myself, late Bill Hamilton, late Dr. Michael Tanner, and Jim Delatesso, and the late Richard F. Motzer from MUFON. And then along came later Francis Barwood. And together about 750 people were talked to face-to-face. And most of them saw the boomerang, which is the most interesting object. And since then, I've spent a hell of a lot of time studying what that boomerang is, tracing sightings around the world of it, and hunting down the best videos of what that is. And I believe we have the best video of the boomerangs, and they're queued up. And we're going to show the audience those tonight.
That is awesome. We definitely are. We have a lot of videos to show the audience tonight, guys. So those will be coming a little bit later on tonight. So you got to make sure that you don't go anywhere. Stay right where you're at tonight. And definitely want to go ahead and thank Cosmic Joe Chronicles for the super chat. Awesome super chat, bright and early, quickly. And then Wes Decker as well, saying, Mr. Rob G and Tom King, 2 of my favorite people. Appreciate your support, Wes Decker. We got Deb from Sacramento with her belated birthday. Happy belated birthday, Deb from Sac, with the $5 super sticker. And then we have our guy T-Bone, as usual, with the $5 super chat. We do appreciate all of your support for Spaced Out Radio, guys. So I wanted to go back a little bit, Tom, because I'm going to have you unfold the Phoenix Lights. And I know we have a video that we will be showing. So we have about 15 minutes till break. So let's do this. You talked about, and I think it's important to kind of cover, maybe go into detail, the fact that you had this moment where you were compelled to move to Phoenix. Like, if you wouldn't mind going into detail about that incident, because I think it's very important.
All right. Well, I'll do it. Part of the story, I'm backing this, is I'm an experiencer. When I was living in South Dakota, I got kidnapped by this things that people call the Greys. I remember one time they came into my room to pick me up, and I tried to escape. I had about 8 of these experiences in total. I remember parts of a couple. I remember that night the guy, whoever that was, pulled me in the living room, was doing stuff with my brain. Like I thought downloading me, or I don't know. And then I remember another time where they dropped me off, where I walked off a ship straight into my apartment building. And my apartment building was underground. So it was like a portal. And the thing came through to tuck us in. And I panic. I panic every time they come around. I thought, kill him, get that proof everyone wants. Because the first one you can kill, second one's murder, right? But read my mind. And when I went to turn around, the thing was right behind me looking at me. It's creepy as hell. See the back of your head, And it's like that thing from Alien with Sigourney Weaver looking around. And I froze, and then the thing disappeared. The light went away, room went black, and I woke up screaming. And then I had another dream. The dream that compelled me to move to South Dakota was we were living in. We moved to Phoenix or Albuquerque. I wasn't sure, one of these desert cities. It wasn't safe to live in the cities anymore, so everybody was living in the camping. Everyone went out in the woods and roughed it. And we were looking at the stars, and the stars were moving. That was the sign. People were looking at stars all the time, and the government was talking about it. It was kind of out in the open. Something weird's going to happen. Then an Independence Day type thing came, and this craft was 75 miles, 70, 80 miles. It was all over the whole town.
Wow.
And it was like, I don't know, 100 stories tall, pretty much like Independence Day in a way. It was black in just a big circle, and it could have flattened the town. So we went into town going, oh, shit, the whole world's over, or we're getting off the planet. What's going on? Is this an invasion or an evacuation? So I went into town. There was a perimeter where a light was coming down. Cops were there. The whole city was looking. I guess there were people being beamed up from these things. And there were military around, but they were military plus there were alien military dressed in military suits like V or something with rifles. And this guy came down. I beamed up to him. I said, you lied to me. And I want out of here. I quit this job. I hate it. These humans don't get it. Get me out of here. And he pulled me up in the ship. So I said, after that stuck with me. I still remember that. And when the opportunity came, I thought, we're moving here. We're moving here. And this was in 1994. This is before Independence Day came out. This is before the Phoenix Lights. So we moved here, and then I ended up into the 10 o'clock thing. So that's it, kind of in a nutshell.
Yeah. And I've obviously, I know this part of the story because we've definitely talked before. But here's the other thing I would like people to know, because I think, the consensus is from people that you just happen to have a camera and catch the Phoenix Lights. But the truth is that you have been a skywatcher. You were a skywatcher prior to that incident. So you were set up to be prepared for an event like that. But talk about kind of what got you into skywatching. What were the first things that kind of, and your equipment maybe that you started out with?
Whatever camera you had. Usually it's people's cameras they film their babies and kids with. And then I decided, then when you get something, every time I get something, it costs me money because then I want a better camera. Then I'm like, oh, if I had a better zoom, or if it was in a higher resolution, I have that extra couple of pixels, So you get addicted, I guess, like a collector, like people start collecting things. So you start getting, I want the best camera, but that's just me. So I had the Skywatch on a budget back then. So it was, whatever I could get. But I did have a Super VHS camera. I recorded that on. Now I Skywatch with barely a budget. It's considerable, but if I want it, I go get it. And I got friends in the chat doing the same thing. Today I have a UFO lab that I'm in. It has 8 different screens on here that monitor different things. This is lab 1, and lab 1 has outside 11 weatherproof 4K cameras, and some are thermal, and they're watching the whole perimeter of Chandler, Arizona, which is, about 5-8 miles that I can see. And then I have a friend, Jeff Grunow, and he has almost the same thing. Together we've got 20 cameras. So he has lab B over in Apache Junction, and we're linking our stuff up, and we're looking for other people in the valley that want to do this. So we have an actual, it's not just me anymore. It's a group. It's beyond me. I love it. I love it now that we have wonderful people coming in that are smart. We got a guy skywatching in a helicopter. We got Clive Christopher producing local movies about this that go straight up to iTunes and Tubi and other streaming services. So we have a pretty cohesive unit here. And I've captured things with this gear that I want to share. One of the newest ones is I joined the Flying Humanoid Club. If you skywatch enough, you'll get one of these squids, flying humanoids, jetpack man. So we got a little bit of that to show.
Yeah, and that's awesome. It's definitely a lot of stuff that you have. And I guess what was, can you remember back to the first day that you began sky watching? Like, was it what did you see something first in the sky and then the next day decided to start, or how did it all start?
I actually have all that digitized from VHS. And yes, I remember the first day. It was October 7th, 1995. I was sky watching back then, and I went to a store to rent a camera. So my camera was bad. So I rented a camera that was a better camera, and I rented it for a couple of days, put them in the garage, put music on so I could sync the playback later, and just filmed around the sun to see if anything happened. First day, I got nothing, just bugs and cotton. The second day, I got something really, really weird that looked like a spinning disc. That was very strange. And then I went, aha! Then got to go spend more money because if you only had better. So then I got to the point where I quit my construction job for 2 weeks just to skywatch. And I stayed home, went broke because I got to go back to work to get more money to keep skywatch. Some people smoke crack. I skywatch, right? So
There you go.
yeah, so I kept getting better cameras. I had a pretty good camera for March 13th. Now I got 4K. I got different types of thermo. I got a network of people. This is a dream skywatch where I'm at now. I can't believe the level we're at. Everywhere I go, I talk about UFOs, and it's normalized. All my doctors and practitioners, they know who David Grush is. They know who Lou Elizondo is. They know who George Knapp. All the big guys. This is just these people are famous. These big skywatchers are famous on a word of mouth level, down to doctors, lawyers, police officers, judge. Everybody now is into this. This is huge.
Yeah, and I just want people to understand how important sky watching is. Sky watching is like the backbone of ufology, is how I feel about it, because if it wasn't for sky watchers, then a lot of other people, like including myself, would not have been brought to the realization that these things are up there as often as they are. So, I'm thinking back myself to about 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Well, let me see. Yeah, about 8, 9 years ago, where I wouldn't have even thought to focus on the skies, because I was always under the belief that, UFOs existed and they were coming here, but not on a consistent basis, or not like daily, not like they're up there all the time. So, it shows that you were kind of ahead of the curve, by beginning the sky watch, because you could sit up all night and catch nothing. You have to know that the things are up there all the time in order to invest in the time that it takes to try to capture these things. And I know you were by hand back in the day, but now you have automated systems and things of that nature,
Yeah.
which we're going to show later on in the show. So, yeah, and I'm just like, so that first time that you caught that object, I mean, did you think for a moment that you were going to have success that early?
No, it's a lot of it's just dumb luck and keep doing it over and over and over. You're not just going to go out once, smoke a cigarette, film it, and then go back in. That's never going to happen. Sometimes you had persistent dreams. You wake up, you walk outside, what you dreamed, you filmed. It's weird synchronicity stuff. When you look back at it, I look back at it as I didn't capture a UFO. I got tested. And I got a test, and I guess see if they're testing me, and I'm testing them. What kind of tests are these? And it's getting to the point. I think they're laying down communication in the Skywatch, but you have to unlock that, right? It's not going to be easy to find. It's going to be like a puzzle that's transparent. How are you going to put these pieces together? But it's a weird puzzle. So I look at it as people like myself are just their lab rats that they're running through. Can he do this? Okay, cool. See if you can figure that out. That's what a lot of these sightings, I think, are. I don't really think a lot of it's just, the grays in some sports bottle. I think it's psychological. The phenomenon is on a level we can't understand it. I don't know if we'll be able to take it. Oh yeah, we're not the top dog, that's for sure. Now when somebody can break in your house and convince you to move to Arizona.
Definitely. Let me ask you this, because I know, so 95, I mean, we're talking, this is only 6 years after Bob Lazar came forward. with his famous, his famous story. And I want to know, back then, was that something that kind of compelled you or propelled you into being more interested, aside from the experience you had? Like, what was the climate back then? Because I know the stigma was still strong, and people looked at you with the side eye back then. But was there any momentum back then from Bob Lazar and then other little things that were happening?
Oh yeah, back in the early '90s, even before I moved and got into it, we were ear to the ground. We were following Bob Lazar. Um, we were following Glenn Campbell, the Desert Rat, back in the early '90s. He put out basically a text file of what is going on at Area 51 to keep everybody up to date. Then there was SCNI News with Michael Lindemann and his wife. I was friends with Lee and Brett Elters, and yeah, there was a lot going on in Southwest, so it was a good move, I thought, for us, because we're going to run into something. UFOs I don't think recognize zip codes, borders, laws, anything. They just go wherever they're going to go. I don't know. This area in New Mexico are big hotspots down here in the Southwest, and we don't know why.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back into that, like, being compelled to move there. It's a place, and it was almost just like you said, like you were drawn there. It was meant for you to be there to capture the moment that you captured in a place like that where the skies are so wide open, and it's like the perfect place to skywatch from, and it's where you stayed since then and kicked off everything else that came after. And people, I got to tell you, if you think the Phoenix Lights was something, you got to see what Tom has been doing since then and the things that he captures on a daily basis. And this goes back, and Tom is one of the reasons why, because he's been a supporter of my other channel, personal channel, for a very long time. He's been on the show as well. We've talked a lot, and he inspired me in how to approach capturing these things in the sky, right? And I just got to give that to you, Tom. And I know you've inspired a lot of other sky watchers out there, because we're talking about 30 years at this point, almost, for the Phoenix Lights, and you've done great work since then. So we got about a minute left here before we go to break. So did you have anything that you wanted to add to that? Because I'm just raining.
Thanks. I don't catch them every day. I catch them from time to time, and I skywatch because a lot of you can't. If you can't, you don't own. If you're not in a homeowner association, an apartment, somewhere where you can't do what I'm doing it for you. All right. I'm looking out doing the job. I guess that's why I'm here. Let's show them some video.
Yeah, we will. We're going to actually get into the Phoenix Lights, and I'll have you set the stage for that when we come back from break, as we got about 30 minutes here. So I just want everybody out there to know that tonight is going to be a night where, if you have not had a sighting, the stuff that you're going to see tonight, I think, is going to be for you compelling at the very least, skeptic or non-skeptic. I think the things you're going to see in hour 1 and 2 with Tom, and then also what we have set for hour 3, I think you're going to walk away from this feeling complete. Maybe not complete, but feeling satisfied that these things are not government tech, that these things are not adversarial tech, these things are not birds, they're not balloons, they're not drones. The evidence that we're going to lay down for you guys tonight is going to, I think, at least convince you of those 3 things. And then if you know what it's not, then it just leaves it wide open to what it is. So as we go ahead and get ready to go to break, guys, I want you guys to stick around. Don't go anywhere, because tonight we have Tom King, Tom FK, the guy, Mr. Phoenix Lights. And you guys don't go anywhere right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Stay here.
The After Hours Radio Show. Don't change your dial. We'll be right back. All right, we are clear. So we got about 5 minutes exactly. So if you need to grab anything or do anything, Tom, this will be the time to do it.
I'm set up.
Yeah, we're on camera as well, still on YouTube. At the end of this hour, we take a video break where we'll be off camera, and so you'll be able to do something at that time as well. But yeah, it's been a long time, Tom. I'm just so glad, man, to be talking to you. Like I said, I'm telling everybody that we've talked a lot. You've been on my show multiple times over on the Social Dig. You've been right there in the crowd cheering me on, man, the whole way.
Yeah.
And I really, really do appreciate that, man. I really, really do. Just want to let you know that. I think you know that, but
but
I just want to tell in front of everybody. I want to say it.
Yeah, there's days where I hit those really hard, and there's days where the sky's bad, can't sky watch. Weather could be bad, and then I do work for other people. I put these expensive computers I have in the software to work and try and figure out other people's videos. Yeah, and that's what I did today with one of the videos. I just spent a lot of time image processing, letting these computers run and do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them I do overnight. Like if I do an hour and I convert it using AI, that's an 8-hour job. And then if it doesn't work, then you got to watch it, right? The whole video. You got to look for weird AI things where AI will do weird things to people's faces or eyes. So I'd reject that. So I find the kind of the right AI models after time, which ones to use. And it's getting smarter. Hell, I went to use it today, said we got a big update, and I changed the whole thing, gave us more robust models to use. So I'm like, cool.
Yeah. And I think you're going to birth a lot of sky watchers tonight. I think a lot of people are going to be inspired to go out there and start watching the skies. That's what we need. We need a network of Tom Kings. If we had like 15 Tom Kings spread out all over the country, this mystery would be solved a long time ago. So I know that once we show this equipment, I mean, because people may think, oh, Skywatch, you're just going outside with the camera. Nah, it's a little deeper than that. Tom is really invested in it. The stuff I'm going to show you that he has is just going to blow your mind. We have Lee on this channel, Lee with Lee Strauss, and he has some nice equipment too. And he's a sky watcher. I have to ask him. I don't know I'm sure he knows of you, and I would like to know maybe if you were one of the reasons he kind of got into it. That'll be one of the questions I'll ask him. But yeah, you're known throughout the space, Tom, and you're doing a good deed for just like you said, for those that can't, man. So keep it up.
Yeah, thanks. We have a meeting here tomorrow where I got to clean this lab up a bit. We have a guy coming in. He lives up north, and he filmed the flying humanoid up here in Phoenix just recently. And we've never met. So we're going to meet on camera. We're going to film it for a documentary and, podcast, stuff like that. So it's going to be cool. So two people who don't know each other are both sky watchers. I didn't know of him. He didn't know of me. I'm not that one on. And we both filmed the same thing, and we're going to show it in the lab here on these cameras. And I've already taken he's captured it twice. So this thing's hustling. It's coming back. It's a repeater. We know where his area is. We're doing Skywatch up there. But we're going to show both these footages. And I already took his footage and put it through the expensive 4K AI software and rendered it a whole bunch of times until I got up to the line where you just got to stop. It's AI could make up. But it's a guy in a suit. At first I thought it was balloons, but he's got what looks like a guy in a silver flight suit, black boots, black hands.
I want to see that.
We can't release it yet, but it's coming soon. I'm telling you, it's coming soon. So, and I've been that immersed into the new world of flying humanoids, studying the videos, categorizing some of them, looking at which ones need to go in the AI engine and blow that up. So it's a new branch off of ufology where there were cylinders and discs and spheres and pyramids and circles and saucers and cigars. Now there's jetpack man flying humanoid. A squid.
I've been having my theory about jetpack, man. I've said it on the show a million times that I think it's more than just the guy in the jetpack. So I can't wait till you release that because I'd love to have you come back on so we could talk about that because I definitely have some theories what that is. We got about 10 seconds before we come back for break. All right, everybody, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio, the After Hours radio show with me, your host, Mr. Rob G, as we come back with the man, the myth, the legend, Tom King, Skywatcher extraordinaire, the man who filmed the Phoenix Lights. And actually, we're going to get into that in a moment. But first, space travelers, you're already space travelers. Consider taking the next step and join the club. That's right, you can join our Spaced Out Radio Space Travelers Club for as little as $5 buckaroonies by joining our Patreon. So please consider doing that. And as we jump back into this, so the Phoenix Lights, I know this is like on the list, top of the list for a lot of people is their favorite, most compelling sighting. And we're sitting here with one of the men who actually filmed this. And so it's just amazing. Tom, if you could set up that day before we show the video, if you could set it up, take a step by step through where you up into the sighting, and then we'll go and show the video right afterwards.
My fellow researcher Bill Hamilton gave me a call. There was a thing called U.F.O Roundup, which was like a newsletter that went out. This guy Steve Blonder had his sightings on Monday. He was looking around. That's when before Google, or no, it was after, but that's when Google actually worked. He found UFO Roundup. He asked, are there any UFO investigators in Phoenix? That's how he got to Bill. Bill called me and said, Tom, bring your gear, because I, at that time, a better camera than he did. And we went down to Village Labs, which is a place which is kind of like is this now. That really inspired me to build this lab. And then Stephen Greer was there to copy videotapes. Then we went out to, ironically, the Village Inn to have dinner. And while that happened, that was around 8, the boomerang flew over. We had no idea. We had no idea what was unfolding. We just knew it. We had a gig from 9 to 10 at Steve Blonder's house. Went over there. Door was open. It's a nice area. People running in and out at night like it's Animal House, right? That type of situation. And this very conservative, nice neighborhood. And we go in. He's like, "Oh, the UFO investigators are there." I felt like a Ghostbuster or something, like something out of the movie. Like, I'm actually doing this, And we didn't expect to see anything, but he said, "You're going to see something," but you had missed it. Showed us the tapes he had. They were out of focus. I said, "Where'd you see him?" Went out to the balcony. That's when we saw the first one. Got the camera, came back up, and full.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and show the video. This is original video from March 13th, 1997. Phoenix Lights. Let me go ahead and minus the YouTube commercials. Let's go ahead and actually, I'm going to give you guys a link as well in a moment here to Tom King's page where he has a lot of videos set up. You guys can watch these videos in full. But here we go.
Did you find it?
No, I'm off.
Let me see. I could print it.
Maybe you could zero it in. On
This is the stabilized version I did. So I took out a bunch of
two of them side by side.
Yeah, it does
Maybe
look
that's
like
why
there's
it's so
a-
yellow when there's the two of them making.
This is the location. This is Steve right here. He's the one who kind of got it. There's Rhonda, pool, puppy. Let's get back to the saucer.
I don't know if I'm calling it.
You want to lower it?
I need a chair.
I got another spotting scope somewhere here if somebody wants to look at that. There's two side by side. This is slightly different.
There's another one. Oh, look. One,
There's
two.
another
There's another
Wait,
one over
where?
there. Chimney. There's another one, too.
Where?
There's
Oh, look at that.
There's another one.
No, we're just excited. We're not.
Yeah,
They
four.
keep
I see
coming.
Wait, I see. Whoa, look at them.
I got that one on video.
There's 4 of them. Look at there's 3 of them all together.
I got the third one popping in.
Lower to your left. There's one behind the chimney. One just squared up.
I got 4 of them. Major sighting here.
No, there's 5.
Oh!
Another one just showed up.
Whoa!
Maybe somebody's setting up lights.
Did you see that?
No, those are in the sky.
There's one underneath the house too.
There's one behind the chimney.
Look
We
at, come look
need to go to
over here.
paper.
I can't see how this works. How does this
Holy
work?
Oh, you got to keep
shit.
on. Have you seen that
Allison,
before?
look at my bed.
No.
That's weird.
They're lined up in a pattern, man. There's geometry behind this.
I can't even get
The-
this. I've never seen it. Look at that.
Man, this is
What is this? What is
Let's
this?
see. Oh, there's 3 of them all lined up.
No,
4,
there's
Bill.
one
Get
over
Bill,
here.
over here,
Come
there's
over here.
4.
Look.
Yeah, I see.
Over the top right now. I don't know, but I got it on tape.
They just appeared. They didn't even fly in.
Okay, I got them in the scope.
What does it look like, Bill?
They just appeared. What do they look like in their camera?
They look like,
It looks like there's 3 of them.
What do they look like? Is it like this sphere before?
yeah, they're spears now.
Are they complete circles or cut
Yeah,
off?
they just transformed into circles right now, right as you were talking. Now they're not spears.
Well, see, the way we saw them.
Hey, Stephen Greer missed out, didn't he, Bill?
Have you guys seen this before?
Nope. This isn't first for me.
Anything like it?
I have similar video of this from other people.
See, that one's
You
drifting.
just see little orange things. That's the way we were seeing them. When you see them big,
You see
big,
a gyro.
they're big and they're moving and they have an eye to them.
You see an eye? Like a bullseye?
No.
Did you saw the tape already?
For our radio audience, this is Tom King's film. We're
Out of
watching
focus here.
the lights assembling. There's 3 on the screen at one time right now.
We got major hockey puck activity.
Hey, why don't you have
That's
audio
this
tape?
film.
Because
I
it-
don't have it yet. Tape this.
I think the one on the left may split in half. It's
See, it's drifting down.
It seemed like the one on the right split.
how many is there? I got 4.
If you saw 2, then they just started going.
No.
The other one faded away.
The other one went by. Behind.
Behind a tree.
4 appeared so fast.
I got 3 lined up. Oh no, I forgot to hit the record button.
There's only 3 and they're going down now.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but we need the video camera to put like you have on your story.
Anybody got a still camera, 35 millimeter? Hey, look, the one in the middle's doing something. It's going out of alignment.
Yeah, it's going out of alignment.
It's dropping.
The one on the left, did it drop off?
No, the one in the middle is dropping slightly, and it's the one on the right's blinking. No, that's because it's going behind a tree now. They're definitely moving.
Wait, where'd the other one go?
No, one is went behind a tree or something. The one on the right will be gone in a minute as soon as it goes behind something.
Well, it's all clear. You can see all the way down.
Yeah, let's go in a minute here. Okay, number 2. We're down to 1.
Same she
So that is Phoenix Lights, original video from Tom King. So with that being said, people say that there were 2 different incidents that night. What do
No,
you
there are 8 or 9 at least. I mean, it takes a while to go through them, but there were 2 main ones. The news with their, you got 90 seconds to tell the story. It's not going to go into a complex thing on the local news. The national news, there was a blackout until 90 days later. And then it went national everywhere at the same time on the same channel. ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox all got together and decided we're going to run the Phoenix Lights story tomorrow. We need witnesses, and we got to beat each other to it. They acted like it just happened. Everything about the thing is kind of strange, but 2 events. You're correct. The main one from It started at 7:55 in Henderson, Nevada. 2 boomerangs were seen leaving Las Vegas. Okay, this happened on March 12th too. 2 of these. It could have been the Las Vegas lights, but they didn't see it either. 2 big cities didn't report it. Just people in smaller towns kind of did. So yeah, then it went over Henderson. Then it went down to Paulden at like 8:15. Prescott 8:6. It went 1 minute. It went 32 miles. When you do the math, that's like 1,600 miles an hour. It was flying over one city. The eyewitness testimony that was going over the city was the size of a Safeway mall, gliding at 35 miles an hour. And then it shot off to Prescott, slowed down and did the same thing. Then it shot off to Phoenix, slowed down when it got to the beginning of the city, did a 35-mile-an-hour glide over Phoenix, went through the town, violated the airspace of Sky Harbor Airport on the east side. The wings folded back, and then it shot off a bit, went down to Concho Peak. That's where it was seen again. And we theorized that's when it met up with a big boomerang that was 90 minutes behind it, or not, triangle. There was a triangle that came at 9 o'clock that no one talks about. There's only about 4 main witnesses for that. This thing was 2 miles long. It had plating under the side of it and thousands of lights going down. People looking out those lights, those windows. This ship was huge. This was something more like that I had in my dream. I got to meet somebody who saw it, Max Saracen. And then later, the thing went down to Tucson. Another woman, she saw it down there too. And she said if she held out her arms like this, wouldn't cover it. It was that big. And it was only a mile up. The thing was low. It was huge, just huge. These people would report these were spaceships. It's absolutely preposterous that people think they saw A-10s or planes. I mean, it's just saying these people were dumb. The whole state's dumb. But they simplified it, yeah. So the 10 p.m. thing most likely is flares. I've said that before. At the beginning, first 16 months during the investigation, I was convinced it wasn't because everybody told me it wasn't. Village Labs told me it wasn't. Move On says it wasn't. Everybody said it wasn't. And then the tide changed over time. And some people came around and said, okay, it's probably flares at the 10 p.m. video we just watched. And then other people are stubborn. And, well, a couple of people are stubborn and they won't give it up. They're gonna hold on to that UFOs forever. Now, one of the clinchers is there's a video out there online. It looks just like my video, except it's 11 minutes long. And the objects come at you and hold formation. It does the same thing where there's a light off to the side, but then there's a chain of lights and they come at the camera and then they kind of move by and they're the size of the town and they start blinking. And it's one of the creepiest videos I've seen. And I got that my UFOvideo.com. That's a website of mine. It's on there, a video shot by Charlene. There's a whole category under there with boomerangs and triangles that kind of group them all up so you can see them categorized. That video's on there. It made me think twice. Like maybe I didn't shoot flares. Maybe I saw that. It's very, very hard to determine. For everything that's real, there's a fake thing that looks just like it.
And see that I'm glad we're going into that because when we've talked about this in the past, throwing theories around, our mutual friend Mateo, my guy, we talked when we were talking about this. We talked about the original event, the first event being the real event, and then potentially the government coming in and then dropping flares afterwards to kind of obfuscate and kind of muddy the waters for what it was that people were recording to confuse. This kind of reminds me of the Jeremy Corbell and the 29 Palms film where people, kind of theorized that the same thing was done there, that there was a craft sighting. And then they also released a video of flares as well to kind of obfuscate and muddy the waters. What do you feel about that? And what did you think about the 29 Palms film? Was that to you real? And did it compare to the Phoenix Lights?
When I saw the 29 Palms film, I immediately looked at that and said, that's flares dropping out of formation. The one on the right had dropped at a pretty fast rate because they do drop. But miles away, when you look at these things 50, 60 miles away, you just see them like this, right? What they're dropping at like 12 feet per second, you can't tell 50 miles away that perception. You're flatlined, right? But when you get under them, you're looking like this. You see the drop, see the parachute, see the smoke, see the canister. I've seen that. 29 Palms, I knew that looked like a triangle's optical illusion. So your first question, did they release this as a diversion? That was a working theory that held tight for a while. And then the more rocks we uncovered, the more it didn't make sense. First of all, why was I there to begin with Bill Hamilton? Think about that, all right? We were invited. They knew this was coming. This guy, Steve, was recording this all week. Lynn Katai has been recording this for months. Another witness, Terry Proctor up in Carefree, has been filming flare drops January, February, March. And when he filmed his video at 10, he said there were flares instantly in his video. And you can see the mountain range and you can see him actually drop in his video. So there were people who were filming this. And our military, is not that fast on their feet to instantly know what's going on and then have a cover up. It sounds good, but no, this was going to happen anyway. All right. They were launching those flares on March 13th before the boomerang even got out of Henderson. And when it was flying at a couple of thousand feet and going south, heading to all that big thing of lights that's Phoenix, it's going to see those orange balls that are lighting up on the gunnery range. And as they got closer and closer and closer, it would see all that. There's also a guy in an Apache helicopter flying around that night, and he aimed his flare on the 10 p.m., and he said those were flares too. So I don't think it was a government reaction. It was just, it was two sightings that were going to happen. The boomerang sighting was going to happen whether they did the flares or not. That would have, no one saw it. I mean, everyone saw it, but no one got video, right? So would have went away. But since we had all those videos at 10, 4 of them, then that played over and over and over and over and kept the story alive. But when 2 of these events happened at the same night, looked almost the same, had the same amount of lights, and the same color. Now, that's a coincidence like a 1 in a million. Now it's like 1 in a million or something. It's a super sighting. It's a rare boomerang sighting, and it's created other craft. But then the other thing that made the news, which I had filmed. So it's the whole thing is just mind-boggling. The more you think about it, the more it doesn't make sense. The more details that I collect on it, the more blowed up this brain is getting.
Yeah. I agree because I still haven't straightened it out. You have a lot of people who were present, a lot of the people they've interviewed over the years who describe what they saw, their perspective, and they said as this object flew overhead, they felt like it was one solid unit, that all the lights were part of one large ship, that they saw the stars in the skies blank out. And then obviously the governor did the whole bringing the alien guy out during the press conference, only to later kind of recant his story and kind of admit that he did actually see this event as well and looked at it as being extraterrestrial. What do you think about how did you feel in that moment when that press conference happened? I know you probably had some choice words at that time.
I have some very kindergarten words for that. I was sitting at home and a press conference was announced. I mean, this was a circus back then. It was everyday newspaper article came out. It just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then they said, well, the cops arrested the person. I'm like, or something like, what? They got that. How does the government, this doesn't sound right. So everybody was watching the news. I had VCR set up. I got to get it. I got to get him on 3 and 5. I got to record all these channels because they're all going to have different, camera viewpoints because it's like history in the making, right? And then he comes out and he does a goof on. He goofs on everybody. And his assistant pulls a rubber mask off him. But back then, he's claiming he was a witness and he was really investigating it. Well, everyone that I've met that saw this changed them to a point they would dream about doing something like this. This is crapping on your own sighting on a governor level. this is a man who was kicked out of office. He's their governor, but he became a convicted felon. And because of Arizona law, you can't hold office as a governor and be a felon. So he had to resign for lying on banking. So you trust what this man says? I don't. It's his testimony. He said a couple of shows that he was sitting home watching television to see what the hoopla was. And they said something about some UFO. So he got in his F-150, drove over to Squaw Peak Park and waited for it. And there were other people waiting for it. Makes sense. And then it flew over a Squaw Peak. And he saw it. What?
So you
This
think that
wasn't on TV. I'm sorry, but this was not announced on TV, Rob. They've never announced on television a UFO, interrupt friends to say alien ships incoming, go out and watch it. Back to friends. Because there's a timeline when it came into town, right? It was over a town at 8/8/28. So they would have had to broadcast on television 5-10 minutes before that when it was in Paulden, Prescott. So he had enough time to get in the car and go out there and see it, you know. So they would have had to announce it was coming into Phoenix when it was still 40 miles north. How would they know about something that hadn't even happened? It's like predicting an assassination 15 minutes before they pulled the trigger.
Yeah, so you think him coming out afterwards and saying that he really believed this was UFO the whole time? So you think that was just a bunch of BS essentially?
Mm-hmm. He's the only person that claimed it was on television, and we know it wasn't on television until the next day because the reporters came to my house to collect the tapes, and they didn't have anything from last night. They didn't report on it. No, what I had happened at 10 when the news was live. How are they going to report that too? You know, they had back then, I heard 23 stringers going around Phoenix. His stringer back then was a freelancer that goes around in his car with his camera. He's got police scanners on. He's waiting for trouble or something bad to happen. Then they go to the accident, film it, and sell that footage to the news. These people make up the lack of the news paying more people, right? They didn't see nothing. They didn't get nothing. None of these streamers.
Yeah, got a lot of skeptics out there. As we got about 2 minutes before we go to our top of the hour break. You got a lot of skeptics out there that just look at this and say, nah, these are just flares, period. They're all flares. There was never a craft. You know, what do you say to people like that take that view? Like, what evidence, aside from the video, because this is 97, so the video quality is degraded over the years. What would you point them to kind of make them at least open their mind to what it was that you filmed or what they would have seen?
Well, forget what I found. I forget what I'm saying. Go out there and look. There's a rich history of UFOs going back for decades and decades. And there's, now that we have the internet and shows like this, we can expand our reach. People can expand their research and they can learn a lot. I mean, these phones, you have everything at the world's knowledge at your disposal. We can go back to the Hudson Valley sightings, right? That was the same thing as the Phoenix lights. There's a bunch of lights with a trailing light that was flying around repeatedly. Okay, then we had the Grieswald, Germany sighting. Again, 2 clusters hanging in the sky. And sometimes the objects would go from one cluster to another one. This happened over a nuclear facility. Okay, then we had the Phoenix lights. That happened. Then we had this thing was sighted over Ireland in, I think, 2001. Everybody had an iPhone 12, iPhone 13 back then, and it flew low, and they said it was just like the Phoenix lights. No video. People always say, oh, if it happens today, heck, it happened recently. They didn't get no video. Same thing 30 years later, hardly any video. Neptune Kolomno, Russia, 2015. We have that video tonight to show you. I stabilized those too. These are the best videos of the boomerang that exist in public domain. There were 2 of them. These boomerangs travel in 2s. There's about 10 objects per unit. The objects are about 700 feet wide.
All right, we're going to be back. Actually, you guys don't go anywhere. Hour number 2 is next. We're going to be right back here with Tom King. We have more videos to show, more UFOs to see. You guys don't go anywhere.
You're listening to After Hours with Mr. Rob G on the only place where you can own the night. Spaced Out Radio.
Spaced Out Radio. You've tuned your dial to the right frequency.
All right, clear in time. We're off camera for 5 minutes, so see you in a minute.
All right.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio after hour number 2. As we're back with our guest Tom King, and we actually have about 30 minutes until we go back to radio. So you guys get a beverage and get ready for a rock solid hour number 2. And there's some rustling on your end, Tom, on the mic. Just so you know.
Is there?
Yep. Here we
How's
go.
this?
Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio after hour number 2 with me, your host, Mr. Rob G. We are going back into the conversation with the man who filmed the Phoenix Lights, Mr. Tom King, Skywatcher extraordinaire. We're going to look at some of his awesome equipment, check out some of the things that he's caught up there in our skies. But space travelers, don't forget, you can follow us on Instagram and X at Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Radio Show. Please consider going over there and giving us a follow as we jump right back into the conversation with Tom King. So we just looked at Phoenix Lights. We just had the conversation about that. And I guess before we jump into the other stuff, I wanted to ask you, as we ran out of time on the first hour, what is your opinion on, I believe it's the Stevensville lights? And
Stevens lights?
Yeah, the ones in Texas.
That I may not be familiar with.
Okay.
When was that? What year?
I think it was 2008, I want to say. I know someone out there.
You have to show me this one later.
Yeah, okay. But they had some lights that were seen widely by a lot of different people, like a mass sighting similar to the Phoenix Lights. And just wanted to get your opinion on that, but that's okay. We can move past that and get into some of the videos that you have for us. So first of all, I guess we can start out with the equipment. So Tom King is rocking heavy hardware over there at his house. He doesn't just have a camera point at, and not just a Ring camera like a lot of people have, which for some people that's all you have, right? So that's, you got to use what you got. But Tom King has this elaborate setup, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of this and then some things that he's captured. So which one do you prefer we start with?
The one that shows the gear on the roof.
The gear? Okay, yes. So let me get that actually set up here, guys. You give me just a second. We will be doing that. All right, and that one would be, okay, here we go. And by the way, you guys can capture all these full videos right over on Tom King's channel. We'll put the link in the chat, or if someone could put the link in the chat, that'd be great. Let me go ahead and bring this up on screen here. All right, here we go.
Yeah, that's my chimney. I updated it and put 7 cameras on it. That's a camera called the Beast, which is a mobile pan and tilt sky watching system that has professional cameras on it. And we take that out when it's nice out to go sky watching. If you want to go sky watching with us, comment out and hook up with us. If you want to go out on one of our sky watches we're going to do. We have 2 locations in the valley. North location and another location over by Superstitious Mount.
All right, and you have this here.
Okay, so what's going on here is I've now bought a FLIR unit. So I have a thermal unit. And as soon as I plugged it in, I started seeing weird stuff. The honeymoon started immediately. I'm filming in hot black, and this object's creeping around. It disappeared. And then how does an object disappear on thermal? I don't know. That's impossible. Goes out of range or something. Over on the left, this black dot comes back. And then it comes back and it holds a solid hover. And then I saw that and I'm like, wait a minute. That thing came back. And I looked at the time going, is the camera froze? No, the time's working. this thing's rocking a hover. And then it hovers over here for a bit, and then it disappears. So this piqued my curiosity, like, well, wait a minute, because this films in color, and it films in thermal. There wasn't nothing on the, you couldn't see anything in color. So here's the same video, but I'm tracing the flight path of the video to show this is the flight path. This is the normal flight path that you would see just an airplane taking off from Sky Harbor. And then I trace my cousins back. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, with the arc like that. And is this the one that does the zigzag moves as well?
Yeah, then it comes back. So that's why I said, well, wait a minute, this isn't a plane because it just came back. And I used Flight Radar 24 to look at the sightings before or later and go, was there a plane here? And I also have the dome camera trained, a color dome camera that's 32 power, trained in this exact area where the red targeting system is. So I can turn that on and go, did it show up there? So I'm trying to figure out here as a test, did they show up in thermal or just color or what? So I got two of them now. So here I'm tracking a plane, for an example, and I'm automatically recording the temperature. It's 34 degrees, so it's about freezing. So my goal here is to get the temperature of a UFO. So
Wow.
I got two of these cameras. One films in hot white, the other one films in hot black. And I want to get the temperatures of these things. So here's the same video that we just saw in color of the plane going over. Just to give you an illustration, that's what you get in color. So you get two different choices. I've since got three of these. So here's something that's coming down that looks like an aircraft coming in for a landing at Sky Harbor, but then it does this part where it does a zigzag, and right here where it's turning, it's going to like this, the 6 o'clock position. Now it switches, goes over to like the 4 o'clock position, and then it switches. So if you were on, let's say, a Southwest flight, or God forbid, a Boeing, and you came in at your arc like that, and all of a sudden it shifted way over, I've never seen planes do that. So this thing is fitting in to a degree, and it's mimicking normal stuff. So you got to watch out. What are these things? They're sneaky. Now, this is recorded by UFO DAP, so it was recorded when I was sleeping. This object popped down from those clouds. Those clouds are around 30,000 feet. It darts over to the right real fast, so you see instant acceleration. So there's one of the observables. Then it pops in the cloud. Now, here's the color version. It's hard to see, but if you watch this on a big screen, you see a black dot come out of the cloud, dart up, and then go into the cloud. So if you note the time is, and then seconds later, it appears over on the left. It pops out of the cloud, and then it goes back into the cloud. And then there's a color version of it. So I'm like, this was automatically recorded when I wasn't watching this. So here's the close-up of it. So here's the object, pops down from a cloud, darts over, and UFO DAP picks it back up and auto locks on it again. And then goes back into a cloud. So that's an aircraft. This object is 3 to 4 miles away from the camera, and that's got to be big to even for thermal to pick it up. So here's the second video where it pops down. This is one of the most compelling ones I thought was strange. Because, Rob, this moved from one part of the sky to another. It picked it up seconds later. So it moved at least a mile. And then it slowed down and popped into the cloud. This is strange behavior.
At the very least. And is it phasing in and out, or is it just the clouds obscuring?
It was, in that case, it was the clouds. But the clouds were at 35,000 feet. So it'd have to be hundreds of feet big just to be detectable. I mean, you're not going to detect a bird coming out of the cloud. You're not going to see a bird coming out of the cloud. So,
Right.
Yeah, these things are sneaky. So they move around, and look, it locks and does a hover.
Wow.
And that gets my attention. Then it's like, oh, scramble, turn on the color version, aim the dome camera in there, and see if this thing, what is this thing screwing around? What is it darting around left and right? I've observed a lot of birds with this, and I can tell the difference with birds and these. These are the weird things that I'm adding to the list that I'm hunting. So these weird things. And then I'm finding a white hot is a really good version too. But I catch more on hot black than I do hot white because the computer is automatically recording this. So there's an object just hovering up there. So again, like I said, test. Remember, I said they're giving you think it's a sighting, but for them, I think it's a test.
Yes.
I think that this may be the last on the thermal list where an object was detected hovering, or a bird went by. I think this was the one that was recorded in both hot white and hot black. So these are the ones that, if they go slow enough and creep around like this is the same object. It keeps getting reacquired by the camera. This gives me enough time to get a dome camera on. So this is the fun hunt. And when this goes off, you hear a beep. And when the beep goes off, then this is the same video, but this is what the white hot version would be, I think.
And that's awesome. And I guess explain for people the UFO DAP, right?
Yeah, you talked about that earlier, Rob. UFO DAP is a system where you can buy the software for $90, hook up a USB camera, point it at the sky, and they'll start recording objects for you. It will identify some of them as birds, planes, whatever, some of them unknown. And the unknown ones are the ones you're going to want to go up, wake up the next day, get some coffee, and start going through these folders. This thermal camera I got off eBay for $199. Won't break the bank. And you can film your cat. You can do all kinds of cool sightings with it too. You don't have to use it for UFOs. You can have a lot of fun with that.
And here's the beautiful thing too, because you gave examples of planes, you gave examples of birds, so you can tell what those signatures look like and be able to tell if this is what you're observing or not. So I think that's actually awesome as well.
Yes, I have a database of temperatures of helicopters, planes, and collecting them at different altitudes. It gets really, really cold when you go up really high.
Look at
this object's weird. Look at it, it's just shifting around.
How it just changed direction like that.
Yeah. And then when this happens, I save it. Then I go through a bunch of different software pieces. Unfortunately, you can't really blow this up to 4K and get anything out of it. It doesn't work with thermal. So how do you defeat thermal? I don't know. Nothing can. Like in the Predator movies, if you become the same temperature as the background, 99 degrees, you disappear. Okay, here's a bit of the flying humanoid I filmed. So this is just a snippet of what this jetpack man looks like. And that'll be, and then, okay, it turns to, this is the day my iguana died, and this flew over and I filmed this black cross, and I thought it was a bad omen. So that includes just some recent stuff.
Okay, and so let me go ahead and bring us back up here. So, okay, that was actually awesome. I mean, come on now. Things shifting in midair, 90 degree, 45 degree angles in some cases. And so let me ask you this, right? Because I think when you show something like that, I think, even if we have skeptics in the audience tonight, they would have to agree that that is compelling video. Even a Mick West, if he were to look at this, you have to walk away from it after seeing what examples of a plane looks like, what birds look like, and then this object is obviously neither of those. Very anomalous. Doing some of the 5 observables, like you said as well. So when you walk away from that, that has to at least get you thinking, what is this? Now, let me ask you, Tom, do you think you are filming government tech?
That wasn't. I don't know what that was. It appears to be alive. Some of these appear to be organic.
Yes.
I think a lot. I don't know what the flying human person is. There's definitely people with jetpacks. You see Navy SEALs testing those. There's the jellyfish video that Corbell has. It's really weird. That one actually shifts its temperature to match the environment. Tries that predator. Then we have this flying humanoids crosses, right? This same cross, right, that's flying around is seen on the 1561 Nuremberg woodcut of the battle over town. Happened the morning in front of the sun. That had what we see now: spheres, triangles. It came with a big black triangle that ejected objects out the back when the war started. Black spheres, white spheres. That's being recorded in the Ukraine all over. We had black cross or red crosses that they showed on that painting. I mean, nearly everything we see in the sky today is written down 500 years ago and cut into wood. A lot of this stuff, some of this stuff, I think, is of both. If it fell out of the sky, it might be organic and die, but could fly. I don't really see a lot of metal in these things. I don't know. I'm just collecting data, getting temperatures, and get nuclear hits, whatever, and working with a great group of people here in the valley.
You said a few things during that video that I want to touch on that are very compelling to me. Because I had a sighting, as everyone on this channel knows. They've seen it. You've seen it, Tom, as well.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: when you say that for one, okay, that it appears that in some cases these things try to mimic other things that we have in the sky. And I've always said that if you had something coming, if you were a super intelligent species, you were coming into a planet, and you didn't want to be noticed, one of the things that you would do is blend in. And I point to things like biomimicry as an example. It's just common sense that would be something that would happen. Now, secondly, you also point to the fact that it appears that these things, we're calling them craft, but we really don't know exactly what they are, but they also appear to be like organic or alive. And I got that from my sighting as well, where these 47 objects appeared to be in a bird formation, but they were not birds, and they seemed to all be alive. And it makes me think about, and I always bring this up with the movie Nope with Jordan Peele, and how, a lot of people were turned off by the film initially because they wanted nuts and bolts craft, aliens stepping out the craft, but when he put the spin on it that the craft were actually the aliens and were alive, a lot of people didn't know how to digest that. And then you hear some of that being echoed in like within the government and things like that. Like so I think we might be going down a path that can kind of point to that. Another thing, and I don't know if you saw this, there's the film out there. Is one of the shuttle, or I think this one is actually the space station film, where they show the tether, the 13-mile tether that broke off.
85, yeah. I think that's STS 75.
And they had the little orbs that were kind of shimmering or moving in and out like this. They were like donut-shaped orbs. They were kind of swarming the tether. And someone had a theory that, potentially those things are alive as well, and that these things may live in the upper atmosphere, and they're just alive things in our upper atmosphere. Have you heard that? And what do you think about that theory?
I remember when that came out. That was just another thing that came out. Look, this video's up now. Here's this controversy. I remember that video, and some of the donut UFOs were the cameras where it wasn't in proper focus. There were shots of it were in focus. The debunker theory that it's this is freezing cold up there, and when this snapped, it created thousands of little ice particles that are backlit by the sun. Yeah, that's possible, but why do they all move in different directions? And back then, we just had VHS, right? So we just had a couple buttons, eject, play, record, right? Now we got computers that can trace every one of them, go back in time, redo all that. And before I forget, you mentioned your sighting with 47 objects.
Yes, sir.
I just want to mention there's a free piece of software that people can write this down. It's called Fiji, F-I-J-I. At website.com. I'm not affiliated with them. I use this. It's free. It's a software tool where you can take a still image, and something like your sighting, it'll automatically count all those objects for you. You don't have to go 72,
nice.
42. Yeah, so it takes up a lot of work. So I just want to drop Fiji on you.
Yeah, I need that actually, because when I showed it, and I remember the first time I showed it to Tim Senor, and he had noticed that during the film, some of them disappeared. You know, so it was like 43 at times, 45. And so, you know, trying to make the point that it's anomalous. I showed it to Dave Altman, you know, your friend Dave. We had him on the show last week, and you know, he was definitely thought the video was compelling and thinks that it should be looked at further. So we're trying to get like Mark Antonio to take a look at it as well. So but yeah, okay, we're getting ready to count down here. We got about 4 minutes till break. So yeah, so I guess what we can do here is speak more to the things that you're capturing. So we saw this video. I know we have a few more videos that we're going to watch here. Do any of the other ones depicting things that you caught in the sky with this setup?
Well, yeah, one of the other videos I have, I call it the M video. That's the video where I caught about 4 minutes of an object going all over the sky in multiple directions. It does reverse turns. It changes direction all the time. It does racetrack patterns where it comes down, does half circles, kind of does an S drops. Again, after that sighting, I had to get more gear. But that one I took and I put it into some software and I traced the flight. And when I traced one of the flights of it, one of them was an M, where it bounced off the sky and it did an M. Then it hovered, came back and did an M again. And I went, wait a minute, that thing just spelled M in the sky twice or whatever, W. It repeated a pattern. So that means birds couldn't do that, balloons, sky debris, aircraft, helicopter. The only thing that could, I think, do that would be a drone, a UAP. So when I saw that, I said, there's the test. It wanted to see if I could figure out the M. That was the communication point. It was a breadcrumb. It was something. So maybe I passed that test, then I get another sighting and record that, and it's some other thing to unlock. Like I recorded something in 2016 where I haven't looked at. It's a 20-minute or 30-minute long video of a green orb. You know, Lou Elizondo was talking about this in his book. Maybe this is the same thing. Maybe it's a different green orb. But this thing is pulsing at an on and off rate that when I looked at it, I said, this has to be looked at by signal intelligence. This is Morse code or this is something, but there's a pattern here. What is this pattern? Let's unlock this. So I'm waiting for this video to come out soon. Give it to the internet and let's figure it out.
Yeah, you know, I interviewed a guy, very smart guy named Wild Trees, and he's a microbiologist. And I was watching an interview the other day, rewatching our conversation that we had. And he said one thing that kind of made me really think about that whole things in the sky being alive aspect. And he just talked about how, you know, anywhere you find water here on Earth, you find traces of life within that water. And because there's water in the air and there's water in the atmosphere, then it would make total sense that there are things that would live in that water, maybe even down to a micro level. And it just made me think. And it's like, okay, yeah, we detected things on other planets. So scientists say that potentially could support life in the upper atmospheres of other planets. So why wouldn't that be the same here on Earth? And then if it was, are these things, these living things, part of something maybe that has always been here, kind of leaning into that part of it? Because that would make sense that those things have been here the whole time. But I have a few different theories about these objects, though, because I think for the most part, the things you've captured, that you capture, and the things that I've captured, a lot of these little spheres, I have a theory that these are things that these larger ships release out into the atmosphere to do whatever. I don't know what their work is, reconnaissance or whatnot, but we're going to go ahead and take a look at all that and more videos here with compelling things as we go ahead and get ready to jump into this break and come back with our guy Tom King. So you guys actually kick back, don't go anywhere as we prepare to bring you the receipts. This is the year of the receipts, 2024, and Tom King is bringing those receipts. So if you don't want to miss it, you guys stick around. We got about another 30 minutes here with our guy Tom King right here on Spaced Out Radio, the After Hours Radio Show. Kick back, stay tuned. All right, we're clear. We got about 5 more minutes here. So if you need to do anything, this would be the time.
Rob, I'll take it a step further. If these things can penetrate the water at thousands of miles an hour and not splatter into pieces, there's no difference than them hitting the ground. So we need to evolve to the point that UFOs come in and out of the ground. Our environment doesn't seem to affect them. If they have a warp bubble or whatever it is, they can just go through stuff. So why would they be going in and out of the ground? One theory I'm thinking is they already got the good stuff. They could go directly into, say, deep pockets of the planet where there's big streaks of gold.
Mm-hmm.
Just take it, and then do God knows what with it. Go get all the silver. Some stuff has to be mined and ore. There's some stuff isn't raw material you can get. But who knows? Maybe they take it. We have copper mines out here that look like a homemade version of the Grand Canyon. To get that copper out, they got to move all that dirt and then place it and make another new mountain next to it. So who knows what their process is? But maybe they've already gotten all the good stuff mining-wise, and we're having, where the land just collapses at people's homes, sinkholes and stuff, because they're strip mining the planet underneath us.
I can see that, and I can buy that for sure. There's definitely a lot of resources here, mineral wise, and like I said, as we unravel this onion, I just it just keeps blowing me away more and more. With the evidence that gets presented on what it is that we're dealing with, and the thing is that when I look at skeptics, and I kind of feel sorry for skeptics, the hard skeptics, the ones that just don't believe any of this is possible, when clearly we have so much evidence that shows that there definitely is something going on here. And it's just, it's a kind of a beautiful thing at the same time, because maybe this is another form of, well, it is a form of life, but these objects that we're capturing, maybe they're just another species. There was a point we didn't know what birds were, and then we learned what a bird was, and we're finding new things on this planet daily, just new species of this and that, and things we thought that were extinct that are no longer extinct. And it's just, it just shows that we don't know much about what's going on here on this planet. And, I hear a lot of people that lean into these things might have been here the whole time. And when you say that on the surface, a lot of people are like, think of it like, okay, nuts and bolts craft have been here this whole time. Maybe it's not as deep as that. Maybe it's just these organic things. Maybe they're speaking to these, saying that these things have been here the whole time. And then on top of that, there are things that are visiting from other places, or maybe on these ships, these large ships like the one you said you saw, the huge motherships, which I've never seen, but a lot of people have said they've seen these. Maybe these little objects are things that they send out probes, same way we send a rover to Mars, or have reconnaissance drones in the sky that are unmanned. I definitely think they're unmanned. And the whole question is like, well, what is the purpose? Because the 47 objects I saw, they were in a formation, and they were all together doing something. They were in a ball like this at first, and they were just doing this. And I'm like, why? Maybe I have no theory of what that was, but it's obvious that there's a purpose behind whatever it is that they're doing. Do you have any theories about what you think they're here for, or what the things you're observing, what they're doing?
I think it's a mix of ET plus dimensional beings that have been here longer than we have, and we're just an experiment they watch, but they keep hands off. Not to go, full Sigourney Weaver, but if it moves in their intelligent way, it's alive. Even if it's robotic, then it's alive because it's got some kind of sentient artificial intelligence. So dead things don't move around like this. Something that alive is something that's interacting, and something that's sneaky that knows it has to stay who you are, what you have, and it has to stay so far away from you, or it's going to get too much. It's going to get in trouble because you recorded it too good.
Yeah.
So there's some intelligence behind all of this of what's allowable for us to have. Just certain pieces. They just, even if it's a mixed group, they don't come together and just drop smoking guns. Maybe they police each other. I don't know how this works, but there's definitely something that's interacting with us behind all of this. And we're unlocking it piece by piece, person by person.
We are, as we got about 30 seconds here till we come back from break. People lean on the government for answers to things, like to come forth and give us disclosure. The only thing I would look to the government for that I think has any value is just what have they learned about these things? Tell us that. That's all I need to know. I don't need to see anything because I've already seen what I needed to see. But just tell me what your research has gathered over these years as we come back from break here.
I hope you get to that alien looking out the windows video I spent all day on.
All right. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio after hour 1.5 as we get to the back half of the second hour with our guest Tom King, Mr. Phoenix Lights. You saw his awesome setup, Skywatching times 10. And we need stuff like that. That's experiencer curated data. We need more of that. Definitely want to thank you for coming in, and actually to all our space travelers out there, consider joining the Space Travelers Club for as little as $5 buckaroonies per month. We'd appreciate that. Jumping back into this, we have a few more videos here that Tom King has set up. And which one are we going to see next, Tom? Which one do you prefer?
Let's get to the aliens looking out the window video. Let me set this up. Okay. There's a woman named Dorothy Isaac, and I hope she's still alive. She was a skywatcher from Canada, and she would shoot stuff on 8mm film. Old school, 8mm, before even VHS. And she recorded a lot of weird stuff. And there's a documentary of her on Netflix or on Amazon that you can watch. And she also did an episode on hard copy. And one of them is aliens looking out the window. Now, I have the hard copy stuff on my channel, and then it gets downloaded and re-uploaded and all that stuff. So what I did today is I went to Amazon, and I brought up that movie, and I downloaded that clip that's 12 seconds long, took it out and studied it. So what I did first was stabilize, crop the clip, stabilized it, got the alien center, then I threw it over in the AI machine, which does heavy-duty processing. This thing then went through 5 different AI models. Went through Iris and some different denoise ones. So I tried different AI engines on it, and I slowed it down just a bit. So what this is a 12-second clip where Dorothy Isaac says 3 grays are looking out the window. So that's the actual clip from hard copy. And then I sent you the one over Gmail or the G drive.
One. Okay, I got that one right.
That has just the footage.
All right, I have that one here.
Window.
And there's a few of these.
And looking out the windows. And looking out the windows.
So I'm repeating this over and over.
I'm to try to freeze it.
It gets better and better as the AI models go on.
Okay, so I'm gonna say what I think, right? Is that are we looking at
windows?
2 heads right there?
3 of them. Supposedly these are 3 grays with the big black bug eyes staring out of definitely a square window. So if you play this on a loop, you're gonna get nightmares.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Is this supposed to be the window of a craft?
Yeah, that's what she's saying.
Out the window.
Eventually, the last AI model, I let it try to put in a few pixels, do what it wanted a little bit, and then it got even creepier. There's different AI engines you can put this in, but you can't really get much more out of this. You know, you can't get blood out of a turnip.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can definitely see the essence of what is being depicted, right? Obviously, the detail, the imagination can say, yes, this is definitely two things sitting in a window.
Or that what the Travis Walton, you know, type of alien looked like. Oh yeah, just this 12 seconds on a 3090 GPU takes about 30 minutes just to process and go through a model and see if it's.
What sighting was this a part of, Tom?
This was a part. I don't even know when this was filmed. It was filmed in 8mm.
Was it the turkey UFO?
No. This it does look like them, doesn't it?
Yes.
That was my test to extract as much information as I could today, stabilize it, slow it down, and then see, well, does this even match the turkey video? So this is my gift to the community, is doing this with this high-powered processing stuff and saying, here's the test. What does it look like? And, you know, eventually the video will be on my channel soon, and then you can stick them in your AI models. Hey, stick it in your AI model.
No, I like that. I mean, like I said, you know, obviously not saying what it is, but it definitely it could appear to be two beings sitting in a window. If I were to, you know, use my imagination on that and kind of fill in the blanks, that's kind of what I would get out of that. Let's see here. We also I know we have at least a couple more videos here.
I'll get to the turkey one. That's the best one. There's a couple minutes there.
Let's see. Which one is that? What
That's
Coloma?
What? Coloma. This is a city. Let me set this up while you're getting ready. This was shot by at least 3 different cameras. This shows the Phoenix Lights type boomerangs hovering in the sky. I stabilized this video also. And when this parks as a V, the objects undock and swim around. And they keep close to the V, doing kind of like this. And the trailing light comes down and plugs in. It's just creepy. And it was filmed by a person's car camera. It was filmed by another person on a cell phone, and at least a third person. And when you consider that this was 40 miles south east of Moscow, and and people think it's U.S. tech craft hovering just south of Moscow doing this parked, it's an interesting case study.
All right, let's take a look at that here. We have, starting at the 2-minute mark here.
There are 2 boomerangs in the sky. This is the one on the right. They have about 10 objects per boomerang. It does make an M shape, by the way. There's the M. So this is a stabilization of it. So this shows the lights turn on and off. How hard would it be for a UFO to mimic an FAA aircraft light? That'd be easy peasy.
Yeah, I think that's a thing too. I really do. I think they do that for sure.
Yeah, so this makes kind of like a V shape, but kind of an M. And then it's hit me. There's that M again. So this is becoming like Richard Dreyfuss and those mashed potatoes when it comes to the M. That's my mashed potato. Why is that appearing? So this was, zoomed up. And then that shows the ground. There's a car. So it's up in the air. And the different perspectives show that some of the lights were trading positions. Like one boomerang would go over to the other one, and the other lights would go over to the other one. So this is like a pretty long video. This one everyone should check out. No, but this is the greatest video no one knows about. This is way better than that 29 Palms video, if you ask me.
Okay, and then we have the 10-minute mark in this video.
Yeah, okay, so the 10-minute mark is going to skip forward to the second one, and I stabilized that one too. And this one's a little bit creepier where the objects swim around and kind of get in their position. On March 13th, the boomerang, the lead light undocked and went to the back, and another light chained up forward. This also shows you how the boomerang can fold its wings back and take off. So what do you think, Rob? I mean, we've got 10 lights here. So we got 10 UFOs plus the transparent boomerang that they plug into.
Yeah, I think this is awesome. I think this is great evidence, great compelling video. And this is the stuff that people need to see. Like, this isn't government tech. This isn't government tech. It's not adversarial tech. And we can, after we watch this video, we can actually talk about that, because that seems to be I think people agree across the board, skeptics alike, that things are in the sky. However, their opinion is that they are government tech or adversarial tech. So we can kind of talk to that. These things are obviously strange. They're weird. Is there a chance that some is government tech? I mean, maybe. There's never 100% on anything. So there's always that. But I can make some arguments on why it probably isn't, why it's likely that it isn't government or anything made by human beings. So we can go ahead and get to that.
That's done with that one.
All right,
Thanks,
let me
Rob.
bring this up here. Let me remove that. Okay.
So I'm going to drop links when the show's over to all these videos, to each one, so you can watch the entire thing. We're giving you the highlights. So if you want to go back and do a deeper dive on it, have at it, please.
Yes. So the classic argument, the current argument of these things being government tech, just human made, period. I'll let you go ahead and go first. What would be your if you were to stand in front of the Congress and say why these things aren't human, what would be some of the points you would point to?
Well, depending on what the government has, which is much better than citizen scientists like myself has, is we don't have, the evidence from 75 years or so with those dead bodies. Apparently crashes happen a lot more than we know. We might be shocked to find out that there were hundreds of crashes all over the place. And the amount of bodies, I mean, Elizondo said the other day that they have hundreds and hundreds of videos. And the stuff that we saw was nothing. So, and everybody who goes, these Congress people that go into these meetings, they all come back like believers, all of them. None of them walk out of MECWIS. None of them. They all say public needs to know about this. What? What exactly do they know? I mean, I'm trying to keep my health up because I think that we're at a turning point, man. I think this is coming around. So it's a mixed phenomenon. It's just not nuts and bolts. We showed you tonight those weird thermal-looking things that look alive. These things from Russia that are swimming in the sky south of Moscow. I mean, this is more than nuts and bolts. It's a mix. Might even have Bigfoot in there. Who knows?
Yeah, and here's the thing. I think one of the biggest things is that the people on the outside, or the people who, think these things are mundane or made by human beings, I think what it is they only see one video at a time. They don't see a set a set list of data put in front of them like we just did today, right? I think if anyone were to look at what we showed today, and there's more to come in hour 3, guys. We have Drew Banky and someone else coming in who's gonna also show some compelling stuff. And I think when you put all this in one nice, neat package, you walk away from it if you're open-minded, asking questions. Now, here's the reason why. Couple reasons why I would say this isn't government tech. I'll start there. I would have to say what we're seeing aren't black projects. And the reason why I say that is because in the history of black projects, going all the way back to whenever they first started doing top secret programs, when has it been so publicly shown when the things that they're working on? When have they been shown to the public as much as these things have been shown? You got to think about that. There's no way that any top secret government tech is going to be out there on display for the world to see as many times as it's being seen right now. Doesn't make sense. There's no way in the world that they would allow that to happen. So I think that right there, and that's just using common sense, I think that right there kind of crosses out the fact that it would be government tech. Starting there. Now, adversarial tech, I think the argument for that would be is that when you think about espionage and the spy game, which is alive and well, even to this day, everybody knows what everybody has. So we know what our adversaries have, even though they won't admit it because the spy game is still in effect right now. There's no way that they would say they know what China and Russia has, but they know, we know here in America that China and Russia don't have objects like these. We know that. And then vice versa. They know that we don't have objects like that. So with that alone, that shows you, for one, that it's not government tech, because we wouldn't see these things all the time. If it was, they would not allow that. And then secondly, it's not adversarial, because the spy game has proven that we all know what each other has. So there are no secrets. Secrets that you think are secrets aren't really secrets, because someone is infiltrating information at all times. So with that being said, it doesn't leave anything else but maybe some private industry people. But you gotta know that the governments know what the private industry people are doing. And then the same thing, I don't in the spy game probably applies to that too. So I think with that laying that out right there can kind of let us know that it's something outside of us. And then what is it? Okay, that's the question that still has to be answered. But I think we could at least say that it's not anything that a human being has made. What do you think, Tom? What are your theories on that? As we got about 7-8 minutes to go here.
I'm filming the same stuff I've been filming for about almost 30 years. All right. The swarms, objects that come in swarms, small spheres that are probably, keep saying the size of a beach ball. They're not huge. That's a lot, most of them. That doesn't mean all of them, but that's what I'm seeing. Now, if I happen to be alive in 30 more years, I'm going to be filming the same thing, which makes me think that what I'm filming doesn't evolve. The U.S. humans evolve. We're going to want an iPhone 26, right? An iPhone 260. These things seem to be almost the same. The boomerang's been around 100 years. Still the boomerang. It's not like the boomerang with a new alien Corvette engine in it. So maybe they stopped evolving because they hit the top. Because someday we're going to have the best phone.
Yes.
What are you going to do? Get a 14 billion camera in here? A screen with 20 trillion lines of resolution? At some point, we're going to go, we topped out. Maybe they topped out. Maybe they're only 300 years in advance, and then we top out where they are.
Yeah, no.
So I think a little different than most people.
You're exactly right, though. No, and that's a perfect example. You hit a technological wall at some point as far as innovation goes, and it's good that it slows down as far as the leaps in the technology leaps lessen as you go further down the line. And so, in a perfect example would be an iPhone or any type of technology. It was big leaps in the 80s and in smaller leaps in the 90s and in 2000s, and we've almost hit a wall with a lot of the stuff we have until we, get a hold of some of this alien technology that's out there. Then that will kind of get us on another growth spurt. But yeah, as it stands, we as humans have almost hit that wall. So you would assume if these things are so much more intelligent that they have gone through all those paces, and there probably isn't too much higher than they can go than where they're currently at, which would make sense on why the objects wouldn't change over time, as most people point out. So I think that's a good point of view there, Tom. And with that being said, what do you I don't know if you get into the whole species side of this, right? Because a lot of people feel like these things may belong to a lot of different species. How do you feel about that? Are you or do you have any knowledge of, theories on what the species are and maybe what their intent is? Have you sat back and thought about that?
I couldn't even take a stab at all the big species. I would guess that there's ones that look just like us. There could be people that you've had on Spaced Out Radio that maybe were born here, but they came from somewhere else and were born into this body. They came here for a purpose. You could probably have mixed races. where you have people like us that they somehow mixed with the gray, and they got a half human, half gray. It's got to be, with the universe out there, it's got to be endless varieties. But I think, like them, like everybody else, they're out there for themselves. You're out there for your own self-preservation, your survival, how to get through the day. I don't think they're here to help us at all. I mean, they're not. They'll watch us destroy ourselves as long as it doesn't affect them, I think, or whoever they are. So they're just kind of a neighbor that we live with. Very quiet, silent neighbor, keeping their eye on. And we're just getting up to their level. They might be going, oh, crap, they're catching up technologically. And they're evil because they use nuclear weapons and all this stuff.
I think that is definitely a thing, because I think that could be definitely one of the perspectives there is they definitely look at us and they're like, oh my gosh, if these guys get a hold of some of this technology, it's going to be trouble in the universe. And I would be watching those people too. And I would just be making sure that they don't get to that next step. And that's what I told people. Some people, there's theories that they're here to protect us, but then there's some theories that I've thought about is maybe they're here to keep us landlocked to Earth, so that we don't go out there into the cosmos and bring our nuclear weapons. Because we will, if they allow us to go, we will bring our nuclear weapons to space and do all sorts of damage to the universe, I'm sure. And they probably don't like who we are in our current state. And that's why we have to make that change. That's why I can't wait for what we consider disclosure for the wider world, because we have to change what we're doing. Like, we won't, in our current state, they would never let us out there.
Yeah, we can't be how we are, just go forward. A planet at war with itself. Maybe, like you said, shipwrecked, landlocked, can't get out of here. So we're going to just destroy ourselves. The resources will run out. Then what? What happens when we run out of clean water, energy, all that stuff? I don't know. I'd be watching, if I were them, I'd be watching the same thing. Your top technological powers, every country's top military, and what their weapon systems are, and then you gauge them. How do they stand against us? If we were to go to war, who would win? Even if we sucker punched them or something, you got to, first strike. Definitely, they got to be watching us. Somebody, if there's some intelligence here, and they're watching us, and it's becoming normalized. It's becoming a normal conversation, and that's one of the most important things. Is not so to rush up bodies and dead bodies and just shock everybody. Do disclosure on a smooth, even level up. But we got to change. We can't be like this. We got to change as a species how we act. I don't see how. That's why I said to them, I give up. These people don't get it. This is a lost cause. Get me out of there. That's what I said in that dream. It's becoming a realization.
It definitely is, Tom. And man, I just want to thank you, because we got about a minute left here. I definitely appreciate you coming in, man. And it's been a long time, and we got to do this again. There's way more conversations we could have here, so we'll set that up. Let everybody know where they can find you and find these videos. UFOvideo.com. I'm updating that from time to time. On my channel, which I dropped in the comment. You can also find me on a channel with Jeff Grunnow. Him and I are producing a podcast series. He has lab 2, so we have a lab just like this, and we have another one, and we're getting more and more people. We're going to be doing live Skywatches. We're going to be showing you different science. So it's kind of an exciting channel that we're doing. It's expanding on the channel I have. I'm going out and doing extra stuff. You can get a hold of me there. If you want me to go out on a research party with you, that's possible too. So we do researches outside Arizona. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for having me on. No problem, Tom. Thank you so much for coming on in tonight. It's a pleasure. Like I said, we're going to do this again. Everybody give it up for Tom King. And you guys kick back, because we're going to jump into hour 3 where we have much more to show you tonight. So don't go anywhere.
Conversations that move the needle.
You're listening to After Hours with Mr. Rob G on the only place where you can own the night. Spaced Out Radio.
Spaced Out Radio. You've tuned your dial to the right frequency.
All right, Tom King, thanks for coming. Have a good rest of your night. I got to play a commercial. You take care.
All right, thanks, Rob. We'll see you again.
Yes,
Bye.
sir. right, everybody. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio after hour number 3. Want to thank our guest Tom King for coming in tonight, hours 1 and 2. As we get ready to jump into some stuff here in just a moment, we're coming back from radio break in about 10 seconds. So let's go. Let's get it in. All right, everybody. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio. After hour number 3, the home stretch, right here with your guy, Mr. Rob G, as we go ahead. And we've had an action-packed show today. We showed you UFOs, things in our sky. They're not from here. They're not from here. And we have a lot more to go here, more things to show you. So I want you to stay in your seat. Don't move a muscle as we get into the show. Right here as we are back. And yes, let me go ahead and do something here. I want to go ahead and thank everybody for coming in, first of all, and talk to all the space travelers. We have something called the Space Travelers Club. For $5 a month, you can go ahead and become a space traveler, an official space traveler member with our Patreon. If you wouldn't mind, you guys can go over there and check that out. I'm sure the link is in the chat. As we go ahead and get ready to jump into our hour 3 content here, and you know who our hour 3 guy is, none other than Mr. Drew Banky. Let's go ahead and cue the music, guys, and bring in our guy for hour number 3. Yes, we have
creepy, bro.
Yes, we got our guy Drew Banky stepping in the building. Hour number 3, action-packed show so far. Tom King came in and showed us some awesome stuff. Showed us that these things, it showed us really that all you have to do is look up. Look up. You know, you can go out with the camera, you can go out with rudimentary equipment and capture things in the sky. Tom King just happens to have an elaborate, awesome setup, and it actually tracks things automatically. He doesn't even have to be at his station. That system finds things in the sky and follows them and records them. So I think that's awesome. Now, Drew, you contacted me earlier today and you said, dude, and I'll let you go ahead and finish up. Set the stage for us, Drew.
Yeah, so a good buddy of mine, Jeff Winsett, messaged me this morning. He said, hey, something's happening up here in Crestone. I don't know how long it's going to last or whatever, but he started taking some footage of it and started sending it to me. And I was like, man, this is some good footage. So I started reaching out to my people. I get different connects in different places and send them the video and see what they thought. And a lot of them are really interested in it. And it went on for a while, and there's some other people that got footage of it, but we got Jeff here tonight with us. So without further ado, let's bring him on in so he can tell the story. And we actually got video to share with you guys. And this event happened today in broad daylight. I think it started before the sun rose, approximately 6 a.m. and lasted, I don't know, I think it's probably 11 or 12 before it ended. I don't know. Jeff can fill us all in, but yep. I know he's waiting in the background, and we might as well get it from the horse's mouth.
Let's do that. So let's go ahead and bring in the man that captured this awesome footage today, and it's just mind-blowing when you guys see this, guys. Let me bring in our guest here, Jeff Winsett. Hello, Jeff. How are you?
We're doing great. Can you hear me?
Can hear you just well. So you have go ahead and talk about your podcast. You have Crestone Radio,
Crestone podcast and radio, your lifeline, CPR, your lifeline to the true news on what's happening now today on God's green earth.
That's right.
That's a straight up, right? So as being a sun dancer myself, well, hold on. Before I get into that, I want to say thank you for having me on, both of you. Onto this channel. I've been watching you, Master Rob G, and then Drew Banky. Drew Banky's been on my show a couple of times. You know, when we talk about some heartfelt stuff and be able to come over, overcome stuff. And I'm actually wearing his shirt this morning, right? The Secret Journey Within, right? Sacred Journey Within. You feel me? Right. So I woke up this morning, right? And then I'm like, oh my God, right? And I sit outside being a sun dancer, and like I have to wake up and I have to go out to the sun. And I sit there and I wake up like 4 o'clock in the morning, but I have vivid dreams and I like to lay in bed and I like to think about my dreams. And when I lay there in my bed and I think about my dreams, but this morning they were really foggy. And I remember all my dreams constantly remember my dreams. And a lot of them are flying dreams. Some of them with the Nephilims. We can get into that and stuff like that. And I think the Nephilims were fallen angels, but we can get into that later, right?
That's a whole nother book series.
That's a whole nother series. So, anyways, so I'm like, so I lay there and then I think and then I pray a little bit and then I get up and I go outside and I roll me a cigarette. And that's about 6 o'clock in the morning. And then I'm step outside, and at 6 o'clock in the morning, out comes out of Willow Creek. There's the ravine in the video. I don't know if you looked at the videos that I've showed Drew Banky, you'll be able to see the videos and where I pointed to where it came out of, and it was glowing before the sun even hit that ravine. So it was
that area of the mountain.
Yeah, it was still in the dark area of the mountain, right? So it came out, and then it came out, and then it floated around above the Japanese shumei, and then it floated out towards my neighbor's house, and then it hung there for a while. Then it moved over more to the south, and then it came over, and it like placed itself like dang near over my house.
Let's see this video. Let's see this video. Let's see this video.
Yeah, let's show it. Show it, Drew.
Here we go, guys. Kick back. This is gonna blow your mind. This blew my mind. So Drew showed me this. He said, "Go look at my page," and I went and looked, and I'm like, "Oh my God, dude, what is it?" He's like, "This thing is being." He's been filming this for hours. And guys, take a look at this. You tell me what you think. As we bring this up, let me get everything out the way, and we are going to run this here.
Check that out.
Here we go. Now, Jeff, you said this was out there for hours, right?
Hours, man, hours. And it was flying back to the mountains, back to Cottonwood Creek, and then back over to the house, over to the neighbors over here. But it was basically hanging around in this one area, and was hanging over this one area, and it was like doing some surveillance. That picture right there at the very end of that picture, as you can see, that was when he was taken off because people were gathering around the four-way intersection there, and he didn't like it. And then the entity did not like it, and it just took off. And it was just like, and I got one click off on multiple clicks, and I caught that one click. That click right there. Yes.
Where's it at in that final picture? I was never able to actually see it in the cloud pic.
In the cloud pic. Okay, so as soon as we get to here, you got to pause it to the end of the. So you got to pause it right there where it still does a still frame. That's the last picture that I edited into it, and this is not CGI. I play with CGI and stuff like this, but you can do everything you can. Right here, stop, pause. Right there, you see it right there. In the center of that white cloud, right there. Exactly.
Right there.
Yes, senor. Yes.
And that is below the cloud deck, obviously. So how high would you say that was?
Oh man. It was hanging out around about 500, 600, 800 feet up in the air. And then and then it came really close down to me, and we're gonna get to the when it came really close down. We're gonna get to it, but this right here, when it took off, that cloud cover, I don't know. What do you think, Drew, with the cloud cover that is? Because I'm in the
I
northern,
don't know. Probably
and you're in the
20,000 feet,
southern.
25,000 feet or something.
Yeah.
So the mountains are around 14,000. There's 14,000 foot peaks there, and it was hovering below the edge of the mountain and up and down. So we're talking, and Crestone's around 8,000 feet. So we're talking, it was within a couple thousand feet of the deck at least.
Wow.
Exactly. Thank you, Drew, for breaking it down for me. You're more knowledgeable on that for me.
Okay.
Well, I just want to set the stage for this
Yeah.
too. I mean, there's been comments on my post already today saying something about a bird that was hovering for hours in one spot. There's another one that's talking about it could be a balloon, but the wind speeds in the valley, at least down here by Blanca today, was 20, 30 miles an hour wind speed. I don't know what it is at 5,000-6,000 feet, but it can't be that much difference just a couple thousand feet off the deck.
I'm going to tell you right now, I was with my friend
How many other people how many other people did you see videotaping this, Jeff?
Couple dozen.
I've already
Because
found
the whole
I've already found
four-way
one other picture on the
intersection,
internet.
they were blocked. When I posted it, it blew up. The whole four-way intersection, and I've been trying to get a hold of people to get information, but no one's answering, the whole 9 yards. My phone's dead. I only got Facebook Messenger. Economy's rough. I'm sorry. But this is more exciting. I don't really care about money, but anyways, I have Vashan. Vashan should be on the screen, and he has information for us as well. He was there. If not, I'll send him to you with his video. But I don't know if he's on. He could be asleep. It's late. I'm past my curfew too. But at the same time, when this balloon came down, when this fucking orb, whatever the fuck it was, this fucking
watch out.
I'm so sorry, relatives. I apologize. I won't do this again. When this orb come down, I walked underneath it. I could reach up to it with a big old stick. I could take my TP pole and hit it with it if I had to. But when I walked into the atmosphere, the hairs on my skin started standing up. My hair started standing up. It got electrified. I tasted this metal tasted within my mouth, like metallic taste.
Crazy.
I mean,
what do you think about it, Rob?
And then it was like ionized air.
Yeah, I think it's actually. I mean, it's anomalous. It's not a balloon. It's not a balloon based on the wind speeds. You said it's 20, 30 miles per hour, and that was on the ground. I'm sure up higher. I'm sure it's faster than that. Jeff recorded this. It was in the air for hours. So we're not talking about a drone with unless it had some sort of nuclear battery, right? But this lines up more to me with like what was shown on the Mosul orb, the thing they filmed in Iraq. It kind of looks like that, and it also looks like the video that they show that they tried to debunk and say was a Batman balloon. But I think this is this is in that same category. But this is obviously not a balloon, obviously not a drone that we know of, obviously not a bird. So I think that falls into the category of unidentified flying object. This is a UFO.
Would that be called UPA? Or is
UAP,
that how you say that?
UAP or UFO? It does. I mean,
they want to label it that. It could be that if they want to categorize it as that, but it's to the definition unidentified flying object. It's in the air. We don't know what it is, and it's very compelling. And I know Tom King, you know, who we had on hour 1 and 2. I know he's in the back.
Yes.
I want to bring him up and see if he has any opinion on that. And I'll see whenever he's ready, I'll bring him up. His camera's not up right now. But because he, you know, obviously he skywatches, he has an elaborate setup, and I would want to know from him if he's ever seen something like this on the data that he's captured, or if he could speak to something like this. So if we get him to pop in a moment.
So, Master Rob, I would like to say that this thing was about, like, when it was close to me, like or like 25 feet up above me. It was really weird with all the hair sticking up and tasting and then smelling the ionized air. I was actually like, you know, like thinking like, this is kind of crazy. And
awesome.
like, I mean, oh my God. Like,
yeah, I understand how you feel, because that exactly how you're coming across and not able to really even put it into words. That's how I felt with my sighting, and I know my sighting was real too. But when it was over, I was
this is so close to my like to me. I'm like, I've seen a lot of them, but not like this. I've been abducted a couple times. I got an implant behind my ear. I got one in my hand, the whole 9 yards. I mean, like, but this is too close. I have dreams about this.
Yeah. And I appreciate you bringing this data forward, because like I said, you know, this is something that can't be denied when on the face of it. If people look at this, I mean, like you said, Drew, you put it out on social media earlier, which is what I did as well. You know, you put it out there to let people give their opinions, let skeptics kind of chew on it and kind of see what they come back with, if it's anything that they can explain, because we all have open minds. And if it's something they can show you that says it's this, then okay, we'll go with that. But yeah, they're going to go to the same logic or illogical conclusions, which are birds first, then drones, then balloons, the same three things.
I literally had a guy, I hope he's listening right now. I forgot his name. I literally had a guy say that it was birds that were hovering in air, and the way the wind speed was going, it all checked out. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, why do we have to like touch it, you know, feel it? Like, why can't we, like, it's happening. People are talking about it, and it's the meaning to like bring up things like this. You know, could have been a balloon. It could have been some type of balloon. It could have been like, you know, a Chinese spy balloon for some, you know, that has a booster on it or something. Who knows? But it wasn't no bird like hovering in the air for hours like in one spot. Like, it's silly. You know, it's just silly, man. But
that sucker was
like,
cruising all over the place.
I believe you, man. I believe you. And I've already found other footage on a couple still shots from a professional camera from Crestone area of this. So
on this page, Drew, because I know I'm on your Facebook page, which everybody, you can go see this video yourself. Go over to Drew Banky's page. This video.
Go to Jeff's too. Go
and go to, you know, Jeff's as well.
Yeah.
Are there other videos on this page of this, or is this
on
only
Jeff's
one?
on Jeff's page? I know that there's more than one that you can look at. I don't know.
Okay. Are you expecting anyone else aside from Jeff? Was there anyone else coming on that was showing something?
No,
okay.
I don't have any. No.
Okay.
If this is not enough, I gotta look for another job.
I'm just making sure, because somebody had popped in the back, and I'm not sure if you.
I'm getting busy. I'll hire you. I'm getting busy, real busy.
You can't afford me. You can't afford me.
No, we can.
Just mess with you. I'm volunteering my time.
Okay, so this is compelling. I want to go ahead and bring Tom King in and see what he has to say. Tom King, let me if I can get all of us on here. Let me see. All right, let me remove this.
Dude, I'm getting LASIK on Thursday. I'm so nervous.
All right, let me try this real quick.
Tom.
Okay, Tom King. Tom King. So, Tom.
I can afford you. And I had LASIK last year, so get used to these. Anyway, great capture. Great capture.
Yes. What do you think about the footage? Have you, in your years of capturing things, have you seen anything like this?
It looks like a perfect sphere. A still orb comes up. It does not. It has like I said earlier in the show. For every weird thing we have something UFO that mimics it. Right? We have something mylar balloons, but then we have actual spheres. That fly around. So great capture. Except it looks like you filmed it in murder mode. But you do what you have to. How much footage of this is there? How many minutes were you talking?
You talking to me then? They're talking.
Yeah. Yes.
Sir, I probably got about like 7-8 minutes on my phone. I got kind of gawked up and people started pulling into my driveway, Tom. And like everybody started gathering around. I needed to reach out to them, get more video footage from them. And as soon as I get that, it's probably hours. I mean, there was tons of people. I mean, like hours.
If you can, great job. Great. Anybody who skywatches, I appreciate you. And you just instinctively went like this and pulled out your gun. Your phone.
Well, truthfully, it reminds me of the movie Don't Look Up. The movie they made, Don't Look Up. And so it reminds me to look up. And it makes me see all this stuff, but the way I've been brought up in the Native American way makes me look up and enjoy the sun. And that's what actually brought that light coming out of the mountain and be able to see all this. And then it brought it right back into my front yard.
It's the St. Louis Valley.
And exactly what you said, Tom King. It's the size. It was the size of like a beach ball. It was like a size of like a giant beach ball. I would say about 6 foot round in diameter, right? 6 foot round in diameter.
Yeah. They're small. Small Volkswagen bus, I think, or Beetle. The Volkswagen Beetle size.
Yeah, 6 foot
California cars. It's small.
Yeah, it's small, and it is probably like a drone that comes out of the ark.
Drew, can you check the private chat?
There's a lot of things that could be done with your footage.
I want to give a shout out to Aloha Dave, $100 super chat.
Aloha.
This is the most amazing orb video he's ever seen. Thanks to Jeff and thanks to Drew. So,
wow.
Aloha,
Dave. Thank you. Aloha. Back. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that can be done with your footage, Jeff. We can start with the Fiji. You stitch all the Fiji. Since you have all those clouds, and when your camera moves up, down, left, right, what you didn't know, buddy, is you mapped the sky. You just mapped all those clouds. So we could stitch together a panoramic map of those clouds and then take your video and move it around those clouds and see how it moved. It'd be time consuming, but it can be done. So I'll have to see the footage. We could possibly put it in the AI engine and extract a little more data because you've got a lot of pixels there, buddy. You've got a lot of more than those. Window, 8 millimeter film. I don't know format.
Yeah, you're breaking up.
Let's change the information later.
You're breaking up, but I want to end it with this here because we're about to have a break. I definitely appreciate you, Jeff, for bringing this forward because I'm in the boat of all data is good data, and anyone who has receipts should be able to bring those to the table. And I think you've added a real valuable piece to the puzzle. So I do really appreciate you doing that. I just want to say that. And the man, Tom King, it looks like he's agreed to go ahead and run it through some AI. So I'll make sure you guys get linked up. But I want to make sure before we shift into some other things. Let everybody know where they can find you. Where's your podcast and how can they get in contact with you?
Well, if you're on YouTube, you can look me up at Crestone Radio on YouTube. You can also look me up at on Facebook under God's Green Earth. God's Green Earth and Facebook. We are Crestone Podcast Radio, CPR, your lifeline on the true news.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's Jeff Wensley
here. Thank you, everybody. Peace out.
Bringing the receipts. You have a great rest of your night, Jeff. Appreciate you. Tom King, I'll be talking to you soon as well.
Much love to all of you.
All right, fellas.
Thank you, guys. See you tonight.
All right. And it was Drew Benke and Rob G. Yes. All right. So we are obviously
the way it should be. No, I just say,
we're on break here, obviously. Awesome capture, man. Awesome capture. You got to, man. I remember when you hit me up and you said, take a look at this. I was just blown away, man. I just, this is what we need. Yeah. We need, he added a valuable piece of the puzzle there. You know what I mean? And it's just, it goes into the feeling and the nature of this show. Just like I said in the title here, it's experiencer data, watching the skies and curating or capturing experiencer data, which is a very important thing. It just shows that we don't need to get the FLIR video from the government. We don't need the footage from the jets because we have regular people, everyday people capturing these things in the sky. They are everywhere. They are up there. And it's to the skeptics. And I just kind of want to lean into that because the skeptics, there has to be, if you're walking into this with an open mind, there has to come a time where you look at something and say, oh, wow, that's getting me thinking, and not have an explanation for everything. Because I think just like you found out when you send it out to social media, there's a rush to judgment. Like, what did this person really do to vet the information instead of formulating an instant opinion, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a problem.
Well, it's just we're conditioned to do that. We're conditioned to find an excuse to bring it back into 3D because it challenges our mind, and that's ultimately why it's happening. It will it turn out to be cross-referenced with some database that something was happening there where they were doing barometer tests or something with a balloon? Who knows? But what I know, it's got a lot of people talking, and that's good enough for me.
There you
go. There's too many occurrences for them all not to be true, and I know there was multiple people that witnessed this event. So if you're checking boxes, for historical UFO events, this checks a lot of those boxes.
And we're going to keep our fingers on that pulse, right? So we know, obviously, Jeff has more of the footage, and we may just bring him back on, maybe next week, and then kind of look at other data that comes out from that, because it just happened this morning, right? So there's going to be other people posting things, and I would think the news would pick that up locally, right? That should be sent over at least to the local news.
And local news gets a lot of videos, man. I'm telling you, like, this area is some people know about it, some people don't. It's been on Gaia. It's not like a secret. There's a case that we're going to talk about that's in future episodes, weeks down the road, or whenever it comes up. But there was a famous case they talk about on Gaia where they military, it was witnessed like this, I think, taken back in the 90s or something. I don't know. I'll get all the details and present it in a proper way, but this is just a teaser. But there's people that's witnessed the military getting in a firefight at the top of Mount Blanca in a secret cave. There was helicopter crash, all kinds of stuff, but they were in a firefight with the alien race that lives inside Mount Blanca.
I've heard of those things, man. And I at first I used to think, and actually let's bring that back up after the break here, that what you just said, because I have some opinions on that. We have about a minute left here. But so I'm going to be interested to see who else comes out with that. there was somebody popped up, said that were a witness to it. So I can't just bring anybody on. If you didn't know the person that popped up in here, then I wasn't going to bring him on. But if he turns out to be a witness, then maybe we can bring him on at a later time. If you look in the private chat, Drew, you may see what I'm talking about.
I don't know what's going on here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right, we got about 30 seconds before we come back from break here. And we'll have
they're talking about the super chat. That goes to show how much I know. You do. I don't know.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Someone says it.
All right, we'll figure it out. Because we got about 10 more minutes here. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio After Hour, number 2.5. We're on the back half of the last hour. We are coming home. We are going home. Got about 10 more minutes here with our guy, Drew Banky. And then we'll move into some Steve Stockton. He'll be joining us. And then maybe some UFO news or weird news. Either way, you don't want to go anywhere. Make sure you stay right here as we go ahead and finish out the show for the night. Fantastic weekend has been. Once again, I want to say thank you to Tom King for coming in. I want to thank Jeff Winsett as well for bringing that awesome footage forward here in the first half of hour 3. If you guys missed any of that, then you definitely can hop in our archives, youtube.com/@spacedoutradio, where, as Dave says, we have a plethora of options for you there. So rocking to some Bumblefoot, you can go ahead and check out what we did yesterday. We had Kara Phillip and Rob Johnson as well. Great weekend, and we're wrapping it up right now. So yeah, you were talking about, Drew, that as far as some sort of fight with the alien race in the mountains. Let's go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, this so Mount Blanca, the one where the mountain that I live just south of, and where I filmed the event that I posted from September of 2023 last year. Posted that event. We talked about it in previous episodes. But that same mountain has been the focal point of several cases, and one of them is featured on Gaia. And I'm gonna get all the details of it. So don't hold me to the fire right on this. But I think it was back in the early 90s. There was actually a witness of U.S. military helicopters, like blacked out, like secretive helicopters, having military people get out of it and actually getting in a firefight, like a shootout with the alien race by an entrance of a secret cave that's in Mount Blanca. And there's a whole episode where they talk about it on Gaia in a lot more detail. There's supposed to be like a ant race that lives there. But this area in San Luis Valley, where that video that Jeff brought up earlier, that's only like an hour, north of my house in this same valley. And this valley is one of the most hot UFO areas in the United States. It's up there.
Yeah. As far as, when on the surface, when you hear, okay, there's a fight with aliens in the mountains and an alien race, some people, obviously a skeptic, might hear that and be like, what are these guys talking about? That sounds ridiculous. It sounds bananas. But you got to think about it. I mean, we know these things are here, whatever they are. We know that they're here. So it wouldn't be far-fetched to say they've taken up somewhere. Some people think they're underwater and they have a base under there. I'm one that I watch these cave dwelling shows where these guys go into caves all around the United States, and until you really see like the inside of these caves, once you see this, I mean, I saw this guy go into a cave where he went down 100 feet, walked over to another area, and then there was like a 500-600 foot drop. And then the cave continued on and on and on. There's miles of caves that are out there. And it's like, okay, what's in there? You know what I mean? And okay, could there be an alien race in there? I mean, you know, if the was it SHTF, if the ish hits the fan, I'm going in one of those caves. So it would make sense that one of these things would do the same. So
Yeah.
that knowing that makes that story not sound so off base.
You know, and Crestone has over 20 different spiritual retreat centers. They got ashrams. They got at least three stupas, you know, and just a plethora, you know, of UFO sightings. I know people there that have seen some, you know, they report seeing some crazy, like big motherships, like coming out of cloak that are just like 10 feet above the tree line, you know, and Crestone used to be an old gold mining town, so the mountains of Crestone were filled with gold, you know, and probably still are in a lot of places. You know, anyone that knows anything about alchemy and stuff, that gold is, you know, it's sought after throughout the universe, not just on this planet, but throughout the universe. So, you know, there's so many things about Crestone that makes it magical. There's so many things about the SLV, the San Luis Valley, that makes it magical. And, you know, to do what I do and to live here, it's just a perfect matchup, you know.
Yeah, I mean that would make sense too, right? Because if there's some people say they come here for our minerals and the gold, and that'd be a good reason why they'd be attracted. And same way it's a hot spot out there. I'm in Southern California. I'm in Bakersfield, which is about an hour and a half north of LA. And this whole area is a hot spot, as everyone knows. Catalina Island's probably 120, 130 miles from here, which is supposedly where one of the underwater bases are, or at least this is where, as we talked to Kevin Day about a week or two ago, and you know, now his data is coming from radar data that he's observed, and showing that these things were coming down from space, coming down basically to sea level, and these things were disappearing right off of Guadalupe Island, which is a little further south from Catalina Island. So we know these things are here. We know they're doing something, and it's just about figuring out what it is. And like I said before, we have a guest coming on here later this month. Yeah, we're in September now. So later this month, we have a guy named Reed Summers, and you know, he gets into the whole intent part of this, which is going to be an awesome conversation when he comes on. I already know it. But you know, that's when once you get past the fact that these anomalous things are in the sky, as we've shown with Tom King, and as Jeff has brought forward as well, that we're capturing these things. And if you look once again at a sighting like Ariel School, or even Virginia, where these things are getting out of their craft on the ground here, then the next logical question is, well, what are they doing here, right? Or what do they want? And as Tom King feels that these things you know, aren't really here maybe to protect us or for our best interest. So it's a beautiful time, and it's a great time to be alive, but then it's also a scary time too, right? Because, you know, if the STHF, if the ish hits the fan, then we have to be ready to you know, I don't know.
We got to come up with a code word.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
We got to come up, because we got to have at least one word, you know, because sometimes it gets heated, so you got to have at least one word. But we got to come up with a code word so we can you know, not make anyone upset.
Yeah, exactly. And I gotta say, man, like I said, I think this has been an awesome, informative show today. You know, it's exactly as I thought it would be. I think we laid it out really well, because, you know, I like to talk not just to people who believe in UFOs or who are within ufology. I believe the conversation should be had also with the skeptics. I would like to have like a balance of skeptics in this audience, as well as people who believe in UFOs, because we have to have that conversation together. and to end up getting to where we're trying to go, or just to find out the answers, right? Because I don't want to just hear people say, yeah, that's real, that's real. I want to hear a person tell me why they think it's not real. And then, okay, let's take that and let's talk about that, because
chop it up.
Yeah, you
Chop
could
it
have,
up.
you could be making a good point, right? What do you think?
Yeah, just chop it up. Yeah, I love, I'm here for the truth. I'm not, if it's, and if there's explanation for this video that comes out in the future, I will bring it to a Sunday night. I'm not afraid, because I'm here for the truth. Like I really want, I want people to make their own decisions. So that's why I didn't bring this here and say, hey, this is a UFO video. Hey, this is some good footage and needs to be looked at.
Yes. And where was it posted? It's you can find it on Drew's page, but I guess Drew's page will link to Jeff's page.
Yeah, it'll link to Jeff. I made sure, and that's another thing, if this does become, one of the top 10 UFO videos, and if people start cutting it up and looking, some of the people I was talking to today was, bringing up, maybe it was CGI or whatever, but I know it was just raw video. So if they start looking into it and looking at the digital record of it, it's very easy to see a digital record, if you know anything about like looking at video, and see if it was tampered with at all, and then you can cut that out. You can cut out satellite. There was no satellite in the areas, obviously very much lower than a satellite. Was it a balloon? I don't know. It's a long string if it was, and it was, somebody was holding it for a very long time and walking around Crestone,
Exactly.
So I don't know. It's a very good video, and it deserves to be looked at. That's the bottom line. It's a very good video. It deserves to be looked at.
There you go. There you go. Drew Banky, thanks for bringing the heat this week, man. I do appreciate it. And you already know Drew is here every Sunday, guys. So if you're here for the first time, definitely please consider hitting the like and everybody, please hit the like if you like the show today, first off. But those that are new, definitely consider hitting the subscribe and notification bell. We do this 7 days a week. You have the after hours here, Saturdays and Sundays, 8 p.m. Pacific until 11 p.m. Then you have Dave Scott running the Woo Train Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. until midnight. You have Jackson Lee running their show from 8 p.m. Pacific until 9, right before Dave on Fridays. So the point is, 7 days a week, you can find something going on here at Spaced Out Radio. And we just appreciate everybody coming in and in searching for the truth, right? I appreciate everybody who has come in to search for the truth. Hopefully we get the answers one day. Drew, appreciate you coming in. I will see you next week. We will talk it during the week, obviously, sir. So talk to you soon.
I got LASIK surgery on Thursday, guys. I'm super nervous. It's like all I can think about, and this UFO video, but that's all I can think about is LASIK surgery. So think about me on Thursday, guys.
Definitely will. Drew Banky, everyone. Thank you for coming in, Drew. Talk to you soon, man. All right, guys. Yes, as we get into the last part of the show here, we got about 10 minutes left. So it's about time for us to get into some Steve Stockton, missing persons mysteries. And let me cue that up. And here we go.
Welcome to Tales Untold and Missing Persons Mysteries on Spaced Out Radio's After Hours. My name is Steve Stockton, and I'm here to take you on a journey of mysteries, legends, and true stories. Come, join me on this strange adventure of Tales Untold and Missing Person Mysteries. Apparitions of Civil War soldiers. Throughout history, numerous wars have been waged on multiple fronts. In 1862, 3 significant battles of the Civil War took place across various areas of what is currently referred to as the Maryland section, situated along the Appalachian Trail. Many lives, particularly those of soldiers, were lost in the violent and ongoing conflict. The number of soldier casualties was so great that some believe their spirits linger on. Hikers on the Appalachian Trail who passed through these areas have shared eerie stories. There have been reports of ghost soldiers, strange campfires, and the distant sounds of cannons by some people. Close to the pass where the fighting was intense is the farm of a man named Daniel Wise. It is believed that the remains of 58 soldiers were thrown into an old well on his property, which has led to sightings of ghostly figures wandering around Wise Land. Next, we have the Pierce Pond Ghost. Some individuals enjoy hiking the Appalachian Trail solo, but this has led to negative experiences for some, according to stories. One man, for example, was trekking along Pierce Pond in Maine when he encountered two shocking incidents that have stayed with him forever. After hiking several miles and camping at different locations, he settled at the Pierce Pond camp area for the night. While enjoying his campfire, he noticed a figure walking nearby. Upon closer inspection, the figure appeared ghostly and resembled a rugged outdoorsman carrying what appeared to be fishing equipment. During that first night, the spectral figure gradually faded into the darkness. The man resumed his hike the next day, only to come face to face with the ghostly figure once more. This encounter was more frightening than the previous, as the figure halted and gave him an unsettling stare that sent shivers down his spine. Without hesitation, the hiker left his campsite, dashed into the forest, took cover behind a tree, and waited until morning. Once daylight broke, he quickly returned to his camp, gathered his belongings, and left the area before nightfall caught up with him again. And there's the story of the Flatwoods Monster. In the summer of 1952, Edward and Fred May, two brothers from Flatwoods, West Virginia, rushed home to tell their mother, Kathleen May, about a strange event they had just witnessed. While playing football at Flatwoods School playground, they saw a bright object swiftly fly across the sky and land on a nearby farmer's property. Ms. May and her sons, along with some other boys from the area, were curious about what had occurred on the neighbor's land and went looking for answers. As the sun set, they noticed an unusual object in the woods. According to Andrew Smith, the executive director of the Braxton County CVB and curator of the Flatwood Monster Museum, the thing had an odd shape. It was emitting a red glow accompanied by smoke or steam. During this adventure, 17-year-old National Guardsman Eugene Lemon witnessed a pulsating light and directed his flashlight toward it. He spotted a, quote, 10-foot monster with bright eyes, a blood-red face, and green glowing body perched in a tree, end quote. The monster then hissed and floated toward the group, causing Lemon to scream and drop his flashlight. According to newspaper reports, several of the party fainted and vomited for several hours after returning to town. Later, Ms. May was quoted as saying that the monster looked worse than Frankenstein. The group turned and ran down the hill, immediately reporting what they saw to the local sheriff. Several men armed with shotguns returned to the scene with Lemon an hour later. According to local reports, they were met with a horrible smell and saw what they described as slight heat waves in the air. Authorities didn't find much, says Smith. What was found was gathered and sent to Washington, D.C., and never seen again. Smith says one of the reasons the Flatwoods monster encounter is so intriguing is that it was only the second or third of its kind and likely one of the first with so many witnesses. It made national headlines, says Smith. Today, on the main road into town, a sign reads, "Welcome to Flatwoods, home of the Green Monster." The UFO sighting, or whatever it was, is in the past but not forgotten. There's not a consensus on what happened in Flatwoods that evening, says Smith. You have your UFO true believers and skeptics who think it was a misidentified barn owl, Smith explains. If I had to pick one, he says, I'd say the most commonly held thought is that the monster is a fun and interesting bit of folklore. Having to decide whether it's real or fake takes all the fun out of it. Next up, the giggling children. There's a spooky tale about some children who appeared unnatural and unsettling to a group of hikers on the AT. The hikers had hiked for miles and set up camp in a particular spot. They were met with an unusual and eerie sight when they woke up the morning after a peaceful sleep. They discovered that their campsite was enveloped by dense mist that failed to dissipate despite the sun shining. As they gathered their belongings, they heard children's laughter emanating from their surroundings. The group was almost done packing up when a group of children, led by one parent, walked out of the mist and past them. These creepy children asked the hikers where they were going, and someone responded they were hiking along the Appalachian Trail. The kids started laughing And one replied, "This isn't the Appalachian Trail," as they kept walking off. The hikers spent the whole day hearing the children giggling around them from the woods.
All right, and that is Steve Stockton, Missing Persons Mysteries, everybody. Definitely want to make sure you guys go and give Steve Stockton a follow. He has a bunch of subscribers over there and also a lot of great content that you can find over there. We definitely want to thank Steve Stockton for bringing these creepy stories here to the After Hours radio show. It's an honor to actually have him be a part of this, right? So with that being said, I think we had a great show, guys. I think, we laid out some groundwork here to at least have the conversation, right? So if you have skeptic friends, hopefully the skeptics in the watching the show tonight. I really do. I really hope they are. I don't think we should be divided. I think we should all be in one group, in one community, having these conversations. We need some of that opposition. We need some of those alternative views on and opinions on in theories on what it is that we're looking at. But I think what we for sure found out tonight and showed tonight, that experiencer data does matter, and experiencers can have just as good of data as the data that we're seeing coming out of the government, right? And it's our data. It's data that we own, and it's data that we can sit down and vet. There are no paywalls. There are no NDAs protecting this data or hiding this data. And if you ask me, the video that Jeff brought forward today, it looks just like the Mosul orb. So if you put that side by side with the Mosul orb video, there's the big difference is the Mosul orb video is being released by the government. And if you want to get any more information on that, you're not going to get it. Whereas Jeff's video, who stands right up to that video, and it'll be vetted as the days go, there is no paywall, there is no block, there's nothing but opportunity to figure out exactly what that is, right? Please share this video with the skeptic tonight. Please invite them into the conversation. And like I said before, anybody out there who has caught this, I know there's a lot of people in Twitter land or X land watching this as well. If you haven't, I know you watch it there, but please consider coming on over and hitting the subscriber notification bell so you know when we go live next time. And feel free to join the conversation. That's what we do here. Definitely want to thank everybody for coming in. It has been a pleasure doing this. And I think we really moved the needle with this show tonight, right? So let's go ahead and chalk this one up to a job well done from our guest tonight. And I want to thank Tom King for coming in. Good friend. Will continue to be that. And we're going to have him back on soon so we can talk about other things. And also thanks to Jeff Winsett and Drew Banky as well for an awesome hour 3. Also want to thank and say hello to this man right here, the one you hear singing the song, Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, the man who rocks us out each and every weekend as he reminds us, as the song says, to never say never again. Because yes, the phenomena is real and anything and everything is possible. Show your love by putting your horns up. Also, we want to thank our viewers online and listeners on terrestrial radio and digital platforms. When and wherever in the world you may be listening from, we appreciate you for tuning your frequency to Spaced Out Radio, where we do what we do best. And what's that, you ask? We own the night. Remember, this show is copyrighted Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. It's been a pleasure serving you once again as your host. I'm Mr. Rob G. This is the After Hours Radio Show. And to all you space travelers out there, this is not a goodbye nor a farewell, however, as we go off the air for the night. We will see you next time. Love you guys. Take care. And I'll see you tomorrow. I'm filling in for Dave Scott. So be right back here tomorrow. We on the night, guys. Wow. Epic show, guys. Epic show. Thanks everybody for coming on in. Thanks for everybody tuning in on YouTube. Thanks for everybody tuning in on X. We do appreciate you on X. If you could hit that little heart button, that little like button there. Thank everybody who's tuning in from Twitch as well. And LVL, no premiere tonight. I'm filling in for Dave Scott Monday and Tuesday of this week. So we have to go ahead and get ready for that. So I'm not going to hold you up for any longer. I do appreciate all the time you spent with me tonight. You guys have a great rest of your night. And let's go ahead and rock out with this awesome outro. You guys have a great rest of your night. See you guys tomorrow. You guys take care.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want